Welcome back to Hidden Power.
Welcome back to Hidden Power.
Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast.
Today we are joined by the legendary Hoops in Hip Hop,
True Green 7, Jake from Game Explained,
Hybrid Hero, Birdkeeper Toby, Greg from the podcast. It's super effective. Birdkeeper Toby.
Heyo.
In Cup of Fee.
Hi.
Let's start with some speed round questions. What would your Pokemon type be? And then we also want to know what your Hidden Power type would be.
Well, my favorite type is Ice, so I probably would go with Ice. And then my hidden power type would probably be Fire, because that's...
Yes.
I don't know if I have a favorite type, but that would probably be like my default second favorite type, because Cyndaquil is my favorite.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm surprised that Fire wasn't your favorite type. I just fully expected him with the Cyndaquil, you know?
Yeah, you know, when I have thought about this before, I always thought that same thing, that Fire should kind of have to be my favorite type. But when I think about the Ice type, like, so many like cool Pokemon come to mind, so yeah, I just kind of like went with it. But
right,
yeah, those are kind of my top two. So.
Ice types are great. Big Satitan guy over here. Big Satitan guy.
I love Satitan, but I especially love Citadel. When I saw that thing for the first time, I was just like, oh my gosh.
Citadel's weird. I honestly thought I would like Citadel more. Like, I recognize that it is cute, but I think it's kind of weird looking. I think it's very strange.
Is it the mouth? That's
probably
that's
the mouth.
what my wife has an issue with.
It's the mouth for sure.
I mean, they kind of like nailed the toddler look, though.
Yeah, they did.
It has that goofy little kid type of vibe to it. So.
That is
I
true.
love its
Pokédex
weird page, like where you have them falling down the mountain and one sitting. You know, I love that thing so much.
But you like Frigibacks now, though, too, right? That's what one of your videos.
Yeah,
I was thinking like the ice type thing, you know. So
yeah, so that I mean, that's part of why I love Frigibax, because it is an ice type, so just fits in with that. But yeah, Frigibax is easily my favorite Paldea Pokemon, and it's really weird to me that a lot of people don't like it. Because when I saw it for the first time, it was just like love at first sight. It was one of those moments where you're just like, holy crap, this thing is so cool. And I come to find out that most people don't like it, so it's kind of weird.
That's definitely a hot take. I think you're the first person I've heard that
it's so ugly.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's not like I was. It's not like I was like when I was playing Scarlet for the first time. I wasn't like in like conversations with people. I was like in my cave playing the game, like experiencing it myself, and I hadn't looked at like I had.
You had an authentic thought, like.
Yeah, it was like just a genuine reaction that I was like, well, I knew that I had seen Arctibax first, because there's a trainer that has Arctibax. Okay. And so I kind of knew that it was the pseudo, right? But I hadn't seen Frigibax, and so I was like, I'm gonna go see where I can find this thing. So I went and like found it, and yeah, I just found it in the wild. That was like my introduction to it, and I was just like, this thing is cool. And then when you like look at it in like in battle, or when it like is in like it's doing like its different animations, like in the picnics and stuff, it does this like angry scared face where it's trying to act all tough, but it's just like this little dirt, and that just like gets me. So I don't know, cute. Like everyone else apparently hates it, but I can appreciate
I'll have to
that.
pick one up and see that. I'll have to pick one up and see it. I do love Arctibax. Like, for me, Baxcalibur could not exist, and it could just be Frigibax, then Arctibax, and leave it as an Arctibax. I love
What are you talking about?
I love no hate to Baxcalibur. No hate to Baxcalibur, but I think Arctibax is like a peak design.
Yeah, Arctibax is cool. It feels like, I mean, I don't know, that is that raptor feel, right? It looks fast. Right. It looks like it actually looks like a dinosaur.
Right.
I'll give you this, Hoops. I don't like Frigibax at all, but I've seen like its TCG cards art. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a few of them that are just. I almost changed my mind. Almost.
Yeah.
I actually have not seen a TCG card of it yet, but I'll have to go look at that, because I love the TCG art, especially when you get into like full art and the alt art territory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, TCG is honestly great. The art that comes out after a new game where there's like a whole new roster of Pokemon, it really does make me value the cards and the TCG so much more. Anyways, all right, let's go to our next speed round questions. What are your top 5 favorite Pokemon?
This is like a perpetually changing list. So
we try to give you a little bit of a little bit of a range. You can like pick and choose your favorites.
Favorite Pokemon, and we changed it to top 3, and now we're having to do top 5 because we're learning nobody has that down.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy, but Cyndaquil obviously number 1. Frigibax I honestly believe is number 2 because I just had that,
no way.
Love it. I was honestly like, when I first saw it, I was saying to myself, I didn't like put this out there, but I was like, if I hadn't had the nostalgia for Cyndaquil that I did, it might be there as like a favorite because I'm not gonna like go that far, but that's how much I just liked it, and I can't explain it other than it appeals to me, I guess. But so yeah, I would have those 2 at top 2. I've always really liked Phantump a lot. I always said prior to existing that Phantump was my number 2. And I also love you know what? I have a thing for round Pokemon. So I also love like Rowlet and Spheal. I don't know, like they're probably like tied.
What about Voltorb?
I don't know. I like Voltorb is like, it's just like there.
It's just a ball.
Right.
It's
like,
just a
like,
circle. Yeah.
Like Spheal and Rowlet, they have the endearing cuteness to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're up there. And then Xerneas comes to mind. I really love Xerneas.
That's a good design.
So
very nice. Very nice.
It's probably fifth
Xerneas
slot.
is cool.
It's funny because like I usually like when it comes to the box art mascots, I usually go for whichever version has like the more fierce looking legendary. So I went with Scarlet, I went with Sun version, I went with Ruby version. Like I've usually go with the more like overtly just like tough and intense looking one.
Right.
But with X and Y, it was kind of the opposite. I went with Xerneas, like the graceful reindeer looking thing, because the design is just so good. Like the colors,
It's a very good design.
Yeah,
it's just beautiful.
I love that your list is all these baby Pokemon and Xerneas.
Yeah, Xerneas is epic. Jumping off of that, what are your favorite games? Your favorite Pokemon game?
Okay, so I've had some time to think about this now that we've sort of we're sort of out of the new game season. Because I always bring this back up and sort of think about this every time we get a new game, and because I always want to have a game that gets to my top spot, because obviously you just want to have amazing Pokemon games. And with Scarlet and Violet, when Scarlet and Violet came out, I was like, this is probably like, I was debating whether it was like favorite or second favorite, but I knew it was in my top 3. But now that the dust has settled, I think I can say that Legends Arceus is number 1 for me. Heart Gold Soul Silver is number 2. And then I think I would actually put Scarlet Violet as number 3.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I put Legends Arceus above the at the top, just because of just all the newness and the like all the cool things it introduced. That was just like, it was amazing, obviously, and I think that's what Pokemon needs to do. And then Heart Gold Soul Silver is number 2 for obvious reasons. It's just such a amazing game, and it's just like so well put together. It's just so complete. It's got so much stuff into it, and that's why I put it above Scarlet and Violet, because Scarlet and Violet, for as good as it is, it obviously doesn't like have the polish that like a Heart Gold Soul Silver does. But I still love like the open world, the Pokemon, the story, especially of Scarlet and Violet. So it makes my top 3. And then as like an honorary 4th mention, I also love Black and White too. So
yeah, that's a really strong list. I feel pretty similar. I feel like I have a similar list.
Pretty much.
Yeah. As a Cyndaquil fanatic, I feel like Hisuian Typhlosion's a very divisive design. I've seen people say, oh, this is horrible, this is ruined Typhlosion, and some people like, this is such a cool take on it. What are your thoughts on Hisuian Typhlosion?
Well, I love that they added the ghost type. I think that's like Fire Ghost. That's just so cool. As far as the approach they took, I can definitely see why people are like divided, but I think the one thing that the design did, I'm personally kind of like, I feel like I'm just okay with it. I wouldn't say like I love it, but I wouldn't necessarily say, I mean, I guess I technically would say I like it a lot, because I wouldn't say it's necessarily any worse than like regular Typhlosion. It's
Okay.
just sort of a different, it's just sort of a different approach. The thing that like obviously is the biggest difference is sort of its like loopy personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it has such a distinct personality is pretty cool, and then obviously like the ghost flames are really awesome. So
Yeah.
I would say it's like, it's not better, it's not worse than regular Typhlosion for me. So
Okay,
like
cool.
I'm about it.
Cool. That's about how I feel. I was curious to get your thoughts, because I remember when that dropped, like that was, and it was because like you said, like its demeanor just turned so many people off to it. Like I remember that was, and it was so sad because it was like, wait, y'all were so excited when you saw Cyndaquil was in this starter lineup, and you're immediately bailing on it. Y'all need to stop.
I feel like I don't really
Yeah.
know what else they would do with a ghost type Typhlosion, right? Typhlosion has such an
Right.
explosive personality. You give it a ghost type, and it just kind of like is this
Well, and that's
exhausted,
the thing. It's an
sleepy
active
creature.
volcano versus a dormant
Yeah,
volcano.
exactly.
Perfect, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I agree, but they could have done a lot more with it.
They could have changed how
See,
it
so it's
looked a little
divisive
bit
on
more.
here too.
Yeah.
Well, there were like leaks that were coming out prior to the game coming out that had basically hinted at what the types for the starter evolutions were going to be, and the fact that they were going to have variants. And so I decided to make my own designs for video, and like we didn't have any reference as to what they would look like, but we kind of knew what the types were going to be. So I made my own Fire Ghost Typhlosion, and looking back on
say
it,
it.
I feel like I would
It was
rather
better.
have that one.
It was better.
But I don't dislike uh, the official one at all. I will say though that I think I actually like Hisuian Decidueye the best of the three, because
it
I
changes.
I know it's like
Same.
I know it's like not good in battle, but I love the fact that they gave it the autumn color scheme. I think that was so awesome.
Today we sit down with Ron, also known as True Green 7. What would your Pokemon type be, and what would your hidden power type be?
All right. Pokemon type. I mean, people always say grass, but like, I mean, it
You're
probably
True
would
Green.
be grass.
Yeah,
It
you're
probably
True
would
Green
be
7.
grass. It's not like grass is my favorite type. It's just that I like. Honestly, I think it's just I really like grass starters. Like, it's not like if I look at every grass type, oh, this is my favorite thing ever. But when I let's see grass starters, usually that's I think my favorite group of Pokemon. But like, if you were to collect every Pokemon from a specific type, I think Dragon would probably be my favorite type. Or I'm a big fan of Rock actually. Rock, like the average person like dislikes a lot of Rock Pokemon, but I like pretty much every Rock Pokemon, even like the ones that people think are ugly, because they're supposed to be not the prettiest, so it's fine.
Which
Like-
ones do
like-
people think are ugly?
Like Probopass, Barbarical,
Yeah, those are pretty ugly.
Rhyperior, even Rhyperior I'm okay with.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I think
It is
it's not-
surprising that you like it.
yeah, exactly. It's not like it's my favorite. It's just that I tend to be okay with the ones that people hate for some reason.
What's
I
your
don't know why.
favorite rock type?
Favorite rock
Not to
type?
derail too much, but
Huh. Let me think.
That's
I-
tough.
I actually I mean, let me check right now quickly. I mean, the one that comes to mind only because it's definitely not my favorite rock type, but it's like Regirock is just my favorite Reggie for some reason.
Yeah, that is
Um,
a good one.
But it's not my favorite rock type. I just for some reason forgot my favorite rock type.
the
Arceus.
Lucario movie.
Arceus.
Okay, that's solid. I like that. You don't hear that often, but that's solid.
Because it doesn't even look like a rock type, so it's like it wasn't in my mind. But,
Right.
like,
That makes sense. Yeah.
When you think of Pokemon, like when you have to like dig into your brain to like think of what a Pokemon looks like, are you thinking of the 3D model, the 2D model? Are you thinking of this Ken Sugimori art? Are you thinking of like what the anime? Like what comes to mind typically?
it's usually the Sugimori art, yeah.
Okay.
85% of the time. But like I'd say that just like fan art usually elevates my opinion of like every Pokemon. Like, even if I dislike a Pokemon, if I see some really good fan art, I tend
Yeah.
to start liking it. And then
True.
maybe that Pokemon, my image would be of that fan art, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay, so Dragon Rock for your type, or
That's a good type combo.
I'd say Dragon Grass, maybe Rock Hidden
Dragon Grass.
Power.
Rocket and Power. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I like
cool.
it. I like
Cool.
that.
Oh, that's good against the ice types.
Yeah, taking those. Yeah, that's great. The ice,
Perfect.
the flying. You've got it.
Wow.
I always wished Drudagon evolved into like a gargoyle type like cave dragon. That would be super cool.
True, true.
Drudagon needs something, man. It's
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah, for real. All right, Ron? What are your top 5 favorite Pokemon?
Top 5 favorite Pokemon. So should I go from 5 up? It's hard to think 5 up. I would have to go, 1 down.
We're
That's
trying to give you
easier.
a spectrum of like of selections that you can make, right? I feel like it's difficult to make top like a top of all time.
I mean,
Pokemon.
it's not that difficult for me. I made like multiple videos on it.
that's true.
Yeah.
Like, once every like 4 years, I'll make like some kind of video related to my favorites. Obviously, number 1 is Sceptile. Number 2 is
Love it.
Arcanine. But like that's like very agreeable. I like a lot of
Yeah.
agreeable Pokemon.
But they're agreeable for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Barbaricle's not on that list.
No, but it may be my favorite rock type of Generation 7. No, never mind. That's a
No,
stupid opinion.
no.
Generation 6, I mean, but like
the fossils are right there, my guy.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Tyrantrum.
hey, that's exactly what came to mind.
Yeah.
But like, all right, so Arcanine, then I guess Rayquaza. Although like I try to take it out because like it's a legendary and that's like a cop out. But like I guess Rayquaza's my.
They're not cop outs.
They're not. They're not.
My like whole list is legendaries. I love them.
Yeah, there's a couple of legendaries and mythicals on mine. I don't remember. I mean, I'll just quickly talk about the ones on my top 10. I just don't remember the order basically. But like Nidoking, love Nidoking.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Love Crobat. I guess I really like that color scheme of like purple and like green, purple and aqua, and turquoise. I really like. I'm a big Samurott and Decidueye fan.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Because of
Samurai
Legends
is my
Arceus?
go-to.
It just so happened that they put my
Wow.
second and third favorite like starters in there.
So
That's awesome.
we just talked to Hoops and Hip Hop. Where does Typhlosion fall on that list for you?
Typhlosion is definitely above average, but it's like, but all starters are above average for me. Like, what's the
Okay.
worst starter? What, like Meganium? Even that's a good Pokemon for me.
You think the worst starter is
He is pretty good.
Meganium?
It's not. But like, that's
Okay,
that's
I was like, whoa, we got to talk about this.
the worst start again. Even the worst would be like a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Maybe even an 8 out of 10. Like, I really like Inteleon, even though it's probably in my bottom 3.
I think Cinderace is my least.
Cinderace. I like it more than Inteleon, but it's definitely not in my top half. Third.
Inteleon's like offensive to me, but only because of like specific things that could have been tweaked. But I like
Yeah.
the concept. I don't mind. Like I like the concept.
Yeah, I love the concept.
Yeah. Cinderace for me is like I don't like the concept and I don't like the execution. But anyways, this isn't about me, Ron. This is about you.
Yeah, I mean, like if you say an opinion that I don't like, maybe I'll
Push
I'll
back.
push back.
Just click in call, you know?
Yeah. You could- yeah. Honestly, that's the thing. You can hang up at any moment.
I'm trying. What would your least favorite like starter be? Because like, I never think of my least favorite starter. Now that I think of it.
I really think it's Cinderace, and I don't hate Cinderace. Like, I don't think it's an awful design or anything. It's just like, I don't know. It is not something a starter usually, like invokes like feelings in you. It's like, oh, this is nostalgic, and oh, I remember when I picked my Rowlet for the first time, and all kinds of that. And Cinderace just, nah.
Cinderace
it.
feels like a cartoon character, which is obviously it is a cartoon. It's a cartoon Pokemon, but it feels like a what I'm saying, like a character of a
Like
TV
Looney
show.
Tunes.
Yeah,
Right.
right. I don't know. For something about it for me
guess.
is a little too bland. I like Scorbunny a lot.
Scorbunny and Raboot
I like
are
Scorbunny a lot too.
top.
Yeah, Raboot's really good.
Rabbit's my probably third favorite middle stage.
Yeah.
Definitely top 3.
Yeah, I like Scorbunny and Raboot.
All right. So, what are your top favorite Pokemon? Top 5?
I can literally just go like to the list and look at it. Like the list exists. That's why I'm so adamant about like actually accurately portraying it because it does exist somewhere. Let me quickly look. But like I'm gonna say I think my least favorite starter probably is Delphox.
Yeah.
Soul, is yours what I think it is?
It is what you think it is for sure.
What is
I don't.
Get out of here.
I'm afraid of saying things because people will just come at you these days.
Let 'em come at
My
you.
least favorite is definitely Quackleval. I'm not a fan.
Quackleval's so good. I think also what saves
Get
Quackleval
out.
for me is the color scheme. I think the colors are so good, and it's got like the floating raindrop feathers. I think that's like beautiful.
I mean, Incineroar is right there with it. It's like fighting for this last spot for me.
Honestly, I actually said my top. I'm looking around. I accurately said my top 5. So
Nice.
top 5 is Decidueye 5, then Nidoking 4, then Rayquaza 3, then Arcanine, and then Sceptile. So yeah.
I love that Nidoking's on
very
that
nice.
list. All right, let's go to your favorite Pokemon game of all time. What is it?
Favorite Pokemon game of all time. Black and White 2 always comes to mind.
It feels like a complete game.
Yeah, it's definitely the most. It has the most for me, and it checks all my boxes. But like Emerald is also like it's not the most nostalgic anymore. Because honestly, like even Gen 7 is nostalgic by now. So it's
I know, right?
So true.
But like yeah, Emerald would have been my favorite. But then I started playing Black and White 2 more, and then I'm like, okay, Black 2 definitely has more up my alley. But yeah, so definitely Black and White 2. Although I'm a big fan of like Ultra Sun and Moon, and then I actually really enjoyed Scarlet and Violet and Legends Arceus. So
Well, let's talk about that. What are some of the favorite things about Scarlet and Violet?
favorite things. Well, first I actually really do like the open world. I thought I wouldn't enjoy the open world because I'm a big fan of the traditional like route designs and the linearity of some of them. But I think they did the open world, at least the landscapes and how dynamic they were, better than let's say Legends Arceus.
Okay.
And definitely way better than Scarlet and Violet in the wild area. So I think they're only improving, and that just made me happier. And then like even like we didn't get a lot of like let's say caves. We didn't get really any caves in Legends Arceus, and not the best caves in Scarlet and Violet. But then we got some caves that I was lost in for a few seconds in Scarlet and Violet. Sorry, I meant
true. Yeah.
Legends. Sword and Shield didn't have the best caves, but Scarlet and Violet, I enjoyed the caves. And then so that's the world. The world I enjoyed more than the average, even though like the towns were barren, but like I like the town designs.
Today we are joined by GatorX. Let's start with some speed round questions. How about that? Just to get you a little bit acclimated to the channel.
All right.
Let's start with this. What is your hidden power type?
Is this something we can
spot.
look up and find out, or are we just saying just in general?
Like, what would you choose for your hidden
We should
power?
make a BuzzFeed quiz for this.
Yeah, this is equivalent to your astrology.
Exactly. Okay. Well, what I would want is psychic, because ideally I would already know ice, dragon, water, hopefully.
Yeah.
But if it's like the type that I am inside, I guess, then it probably is like water.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I know the answer to this next one, but what is your favorite Pokemon?
Totodile.
Love it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Or I mean,
Who'd know?
switch off between Totodile for alligator. But
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, same thing.
We get
How
a
you
lot of-
feel about Croconaw?
Crocodile is cool, but you know,
Just not the other
if
two.
I could have Totodile and just have him Digivolve straight to like for alligator and then back to Totodile after battle, that's it. That
Right.
perfect Pokemon
Yeah.
right there.
That would be an interesting
Understandable.
concept if like every evolution works just like Mega Evolution.
I would be down for that Totodile to do a Feraligatr Digivolve like that. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, no, I always like the concept of like, oh, you can have the little buddies while you're traveling, but then the big guys when you need to fight.
Yeah, that is cool. Okay, so what's your favorite Pokemon game?
Okay, of main series,
Yeah.
I honestly would probably say Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, just because I think by like Gen 6 I just really like how everything had kind of come together in terms of like the mechanics, and I just really always loved Hoenn. I mean, I really love Johto, but I kind of think Hoenn is better than Johto. So basically the definitive version of Hoenn, minus the Battle Frontier.
Yeah,
That's
I was
wild.
about to say, can you forgive them for the Battle Frontier
Can
thing, though?
for the what is it for the little radar thing? What is it? The
The
just that
Poke Radar?
feature?
Or no, it wasn't the Poke
no, it wasn't
Radar.
Poke Radar.
Poke
It
Radar
was
is really
the,
cool.
Pokenav? It was something
Pokenav,
else.
that's it, yeah,
Dexnav.
Pokenav.
Dexnav was the...
Dexnav.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Dexnav, for the Delta episode, Mega Evolution, yeah, sure. I can forgive it.
It's
Yeah,
wild that
that's
like
fair.
Oras is actually like really nostalgic. I'm thinking about it right now, and I always go back to I played probably Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald the most because I also played it just as much as I was a kid, but in college as well on my GameCube. So
Yes.
it's so nostalgic for me. But honestly, just hearing you guys talk about, I'm thinking right now about Oras, and I'm like maybe I boot up a new file.
Yeah, I have only played it once,
Yeah. Okay.
but I just have so much about it.
Yeah,
they're great games. I mean, I think that's like one of the few games that like 99% of the community can agree were great games.
Yeah, but when they came out, people were not very happy with
Yeah,
Omega
I
Ruby
remember
Alpha
that.
Sapphire.
Well, that was because of the Frontier thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
And
And
for the record, that's understandable.
it is.
Yeah. Battle
was
Frontier
rough.
and sure Game Corner. I think those are like the only two things going against
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, the
basically.
Game Corner.
Well, see, Game Corner, I wasn't upset about because like I knew it was coming. You know, it had
Yeah.
been that
Yeah.
way for a bit. I
No,
mean,
I agree. Game Corner was never
was-
like that much fun, but it's nostalgic.
Yeah. It's
like-
like it's the fun little time sink.
Yeah.
can I say my hot take and then see what you guys think on it? It's our last good remake.
Ooh. Doesn't Legends Arceus counts?
Legends Arceus
Yeah,
isn't a remake. That is not remotely a remake.
Legends Arceus, I don't count it as a remake, but like I kind of do, because obviously Game Freak didn't want to make the Diamond Pearl remake.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we want to make this game instead, Legends Arceus. So here, someone else is going to make the remake, and then we'll do this cooler thing.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
within the context of a remake, it's like you have to like where else are you gonna classify it? It would go with the remakes. Toby, thank you so much for being here with us. This is gonna be a really fun conversation today. Let's start it off with some speed round questions, if you don't
All
mind.
right, okay.
Number 1, what is your hidden power type? What is your hidden power type?
Ghost, for sure. I
Ooh.
don't know why Ghost, but we're going with Ghost.
Okay, so we have yet to really like define what the hidden power type or like what a good answer for this would actually be, because it's like if it's a hidden power move, right? You would assume that maybe you have 2 other types. So like, what would your 2 other types be?
Oh no! Why are you doing this to me? I thought this would be theory questions, and like I don't have a good answer for this.
I wouldn't know what to answer either.
I'll go something really quirky, like normal and dragon. I feel like that is that a combo that's been done. Did Drampa get normal?
Drampa, yeah. That's sick. Yeah.
I like
Ooh,
that.
I like
combo.
that.
It's a good combo.
Drampa with the
And
hidden
the
power.
Dunsparce
Ghost.
should have been it.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. So what are your top 5 favorite Pokemon?
I prefer this question to what's your favorite Pokemon, by the way, because there are so many Pokemon I like.
Yeah.
Metagross, Snorlax, Espeon, Gliscod. Who did I like from this generation? There must have been some. Oh, yeah. Annihilate. There you go. I'll go with those for now.
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh.
I didn't realize Metagross was on your your even top.
Yeah, me
10.
neither. That was
So,
surprising.
the thing is, people ask me, what's your favorite Pokemon, right? And for the longest time, it was like, it's Snorlax. Snorlax is the thing.
Yeah.
And then what would happen is, I would get so sick of being, like, shown Snorlax things and buying Snorlax things and making it my identity that eventually I fell out of love with Snorlax. So I keep my Metagross love really quiet so that I can just keep enjoying it. Because I don't want to, like, I want to get the thing where I burn out on it, you know? I think that'd be awful.
Yeah.
You gotta keep some secrets for yourself. I don't even think Gogoat's that good, so I can totally identify with that. That's cool.
I was going to say, you know
Oh
what?
my
Are you
gosh.
not worried about, like, what happens if you ever, like, stop liking Gogoat?
I've got other mascots. I could do Sableye. There's like a hidden channel that I created.
Dusty, this is terrible.
There's a hidden channel that I created. It's called Rusty Scizor. I think that's way cool. That's way cooler.
Everyone call you Rusty.
You're gonna
then.
break some hearts.
Dusty's not even my real name. So, anyways.
I feel bad wearing this shirt now. I did it on purpose, but there it is.
Oh, no,
Oh,
I
it's
like
a-
the shirt. I do like this. I still like Snorlax. I still like it a lot.
All right. What are your?
I
What
wish
is?
I had known beforehand. I would have brought a Metagross shirt, and we could have just really, suffocated him with it.
At the end, I would just be like, I have no favorite Pokemon.
Actually, that's a good question. What is some of your least favorite Pokemon?
I mean, I hate to be basic and be like, oh, the Simisages, Pansages, like
That's
that.
what I was thinking of.
I hate to be like super basic. I get this weird thing about Servine as well. I think,
Really?
yeah, it's about its feet. It's got a weird like body proportions, and they upset me. I don't know why. And I hate to
That's
say it, Soul, but like. Tandem Mouse, I think, kind of sucks, and I know that's like
Oh,
your profile
come on.
picture.
I understand.
I just
I
don't like
understand.
it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But what
It
I
is
will
what it
say
is,
is
I
a
mean.
lot of the Scarlet Violet mons, I did a weekend replay with my lovely partner Phoebe this past weekend gone. And there's loads of Pokemon where I was like, I don't really like this. Like Skeledirge was one of them. And then suddenly I'm finding them like growing on me now. I'm getting the second
Yeah.
playthrough with some of them. I'm like, oh, actually Skeledirge is kind of cool. And like just falling in love with some of the new Pokemon.
Scovillain's
But not
one of
not
those for
Tandem
me
Mouse.
where I'm starting to like it a lot.
Yeah.
Now that we're like 3 months out, like there's a lot of Pokemon that are starting to pop up for me.
We got the
What are
official
your
artwork.
thoughts on Golden Go?
Yeah. Golden Go is even like really growing on me.
No.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of thoughts. I think it'd be really fun to do a run through though, and like aiming to get one quite quickly because I think obviously it's such a it feels like
challenge.
It's like a real collectible gimmick Pokemon. I don't know when I would ever organically get one in a run through, so I think it would be fun to do a run through with one as like an ace or something.
Yeah. So would you spend the first like 10 hours of the game just like farming Gimme Gold coins, or would you have it traded in?
I don't know. I think I'd farm the coins in the game. The whole point is exploration, so
Yeah.
probably would do. Oh, Clorf, I love Clorf. I like Clorf.
Yes.
It's very good
Lu-
Pokemon.
Louise-
You and Lumi.
I'm not the only one. I'm
Yeah.
not the only one.
Wait, do you think other people don't like it? I thought it was like just unanimously popular. Is it not?
I
It's kinda
have
mid.
I have seen a ton of hate for it, including from these two jokers.
Yeah.
But
Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. They got a Go-Go and a Tanda Mouse as their profile pictures. I don't know
Exactly.
what authority they got. Like, no, Clorf is legit.
right. I love them. Anger Shell is like such a cool ability. I mean, they baked in one of the like most competitive moves into a Pokemon. Everything about it, I just adore.
It
I
really
love Cloth.
it does something because it's like the first boss of the game. You know,
Right.
if you treat it that way, it really evokes that same kind of like Brock's Onyx imagery, where it's this kind of
Yes.
one stage at the time rock powerhouse that's like I don't know why I have that same connection with it, but also it's just got a brilliant cry, it's got a brilliant shiny, it's got like just I love the texture of it in the game. It's got so much going right for it.
I gotta
Shini's
say,
really nice.
I gotta say that like what you just said makes me like it a little more. The whole like correlation to Brock's Onyx.
Oh, yeah.
But the cry does the opposite. The cry for me, it sounds like like a dying cow or something. I'm just like, why is this crap sound like a
Dying
cow?
For Pokemon,
It's not
that's
that
pretty
bad.
expressive.
It's not that bad. Yeah.
So are we
true.
saying that we're going to get a Steel type Cloth evolution in Gen 10?
Yo,
that'd
that would
be
be
insane.
sick. That
Give
would
it
actually
It
be
would
really
make
cool.
sense. It would make sense with the like.
Give it
hair
the metal
things look
coat.
just like it looks just
Yeah.
like Sandy
Yeah.
Shocks. a little
Yeah,
bit, the
right. You
hair.
turn the little
Ooh.
grass bits into Sandy Shock metal, and then you give it a metal shell over the top. I'd be well down for that. That sounds wicked.
Oh yeah,
Hey, if
I'd
they make
love
it
some
cooler-
Cloth love.
You know, if they make it cooler, I'm all in.
Yeah,
So
that would almost be like another take at the Yeti crab, right? Rather than having it be as ugly as Crabominable. It's just like a bunch of like little metal magnetic bits.
Soul, is your favorite Tanda Mouse then, or Mousehold?
No, it's not my favorite Pokemon.
Oh,
by any
okay.
means.
All right.
No, I loved it when I first saw it. So you probably know, but in that one like promotional video, they showed it like in the bottom corner or whatever. And
Right, yeah.
I was just like, these little basic mice, they're so like just simple, minimalistic. I really like the look, and I loved it, so I put them on there. I'm like, this is my family. Little did I know they turn into a family when they evolve. So I mean, I actually don't love Mousehold as much because it's just more of the same. But Tandem Mouse, like the design itself, I enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, Soul. I respect your opinion. I don't understand
They're
it.
adorable. They're
I
adorable.
don't understand it at all.
I'm excited
I like
to see how
things
they're
that
going to
look
play
like
out in the
that.
anime. I think they have a lot of personality. I mean, the reason why people say they don't like them is because they're too simple. But like, there's tons of Pokemon, like all of the Pokemon that are grouped together in a single Pokeball, or like considered to be one Pokemon, even though there's like multiple organisms. Like, I feel like they are all very simple. Like, even going as far back as like Execute, or what about Voltorb? That's a singular Pokemon, but Voltorb is
Yeah.
literally a ball.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it's not just a ball. It's a Pokeball.
Yeah,
You know?
it gets
and,
a
like, the whole
pass.
thing with it being in the game, like, you click a Pokeball, it might be an item, might be a Voltorb. You know, that's such a fun little thing about it, you know?
That is
It gives
true.
it more life than just weird little rat family.
Rat family. If they like tied their tails together, that'd have been pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I thought that's what they
I
were
do
gonna do.
like-
I thought they were gonna go like
Yes.
Rat King direction and do that.
Yeah.
But maybe that would have been just you. Maybe that would have been too dark for Pokemon. I don't know. Maybe that would
No way.
because Pokemon does some dark stuff, but does Pokemon really want you googling like Rat King and like have some kids like just be horrified? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've got
Not the
kids
kids.
googling dung beetles, right?
Yeah.
That's
not
not
dark.
horrific.
It's
That's not
disgusting.
dark.
It's disgusting.
I mean,
That is a
natural.
thing
That
in
is a
nature.
night
That is literally nature in the world.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but like, I mean, Marshadow's a night marcher.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, there's a lot of like spooky lore behind that.
Well,
you
it's
know?
true. It's true. Yeah, there are a lot of the ghost Pokemon. There can be some pretty deep origins, some pretty wild stuff. But yeah, I mean, but I think the difference is that the ghost Pokemon, all of that stuff and the stuff it's based on is clearly supernatural. Where obviously, like the Rat King, it's like that's just kind of messed up, and that can happen.
Yeah.
If it can happen,
Wait, it can happen?
Well, we're looking at. I feel like the community, like I feel like Google searches for the Rat King kind of like increased straight after the announcement, and I still don't know if the consensus is that it is actually real or whether it's like an urban myth. So I still don't know.
I thought it was an urban myth. I think we should have, in Black 2 and White 2, when we got access to the Custodia sewers, they should have given us a Raticate evolution that was a Rat King. That would have been kind of cool.
But that would make sense, because Raticate tails, I assume, come off quite easily based on context clues. So they would just it would just be one Raticate with like 5 tails attached to its tail.
What are the context clues? Is there Pokedex evidence to suggest that their tails fall off?
Well, there's just Raticate tails are I guess sold in Team Rocket on the black market, I guess. But
I didn't even think of that.
And I don't know whether it's probably Slowpoke tails, but I'm sure there's some Alolan Pokedex entries talking about the deliciousness. I think that's Slowpoke tails. Yeah,
that's Slowpoke tails. But you're right. I think that is one of the passwords. It's the that's interesting. That's cool. Okay, you
can eat like claws and stuff now.
Tastes like
I
beef.
like that they've gone full in with that. You know, there's no longer a question of, so do we eat Pokemon? They're just like, no, you eat Pokemon.
Yep.
Like straight up.
For sure.
All right, let's move on to our last speed round question. What is your favorite Pokemon game?
What is your top 5 favorite Pokemon games?
No, you
gotta make it easier for you.
Three at least.
Colosseum, Colosseum, Legends Arceus, Platinum, and Sapphire, but that's more, and Yellow. There you go. They're my top 5. But I'll admit that Yellow and Sapphire, is very nostalgia driven. Like in theory, I think Oras probably is just better than Ruby and Sapphire, and Emerald's probably better than Ruby and Sapphire. But my nostalgic attachment to Sapphire and then Yellow as well. It's not the best Pokemon game in the world, but it's my first, so
that's understandable.
There's a lot of love there.
I think those Gen 3 games really stand on their own. I feel like the fact that they have like the pixel art of those older games are nostalgic, but it is its own artistic expression. I think when I play any sort of post X and Y game, there's a completely different feel that I get playing a Pokemon game. Maybe and it could be just the 3D, but it could also be features like the EXP share, right? And I think Sapphire is a very valid answer. I think you can.
It's
I think
the
you
Battle
can,
Frontier.
I think Yellow version's super flawed. I think Yellow version, there's probably better versions of Kanto, but I think Sapphire, you're allowed to like Sapphire. I love Emerald.
Yeah.
And Ruby. Yeah.
Yellow, with a weird thing, I had a weird, I don't know if you guys know about this or saw this, I had a weird adverse reaction to Scarlet and Violet when it came out. In that I didn't super enjoy it, but I found literally in the week following, I sank about 40 hours into Pokemon Yellow, which is super strange for me. I wouldn't, I don't know why, it was just I need to go back. And I did, and I had a great time, and I was trying to play and complete the Pokedex as I went, and so I played 40 hours. I didn't get past Fuchsia, and I was just talking to every NPC and looking at everything, clicking everything, and just really re-immersing myself in that nostalgia. It was great. But I think Legends Arceus is a really big winner for me. I'm so fond of that game, and I hope we see more Legends games.
Yes.
And I think we will, but I've got a really strong hunch that we will. But yeah, Legends Arceus is just fantastic.
Today's guest is Greg from the podcast It's Super Effective. Greg, let me hit you with some speed round questions. All right. First off, if you were a Pokemon, what would your type be?
I mean, I'm always going to be some sort of grass type.
Love it.
The question I always fall between what would be my secondary typing, which would either probably be grass psychic or grass fairy.
Why grass psychic?
Well,
why?
Here's the thing. Overall, when I sort of look at the vast amount of Pokemon that I like grass types. I just like I like Pokemon that have a very natural feel, a solid natural feel to them. Like, I don't like a lot of steel types because a lot of them feel really just hemmed in there for no good reason. Like, there's a bunch of spare parts over there. I'm going to make that a Pokemon. It's not my thing. I like to feel like it's a part of nature. The Pokemon that I tend to feel like animalistic or natural, and that tends to lean a lot. The grass types tend to lean a lot heavier into those types, more than a lot of the other types do. And like water is just all fish and whatever. Psychic type and fairy type. I like psychic type just as a thing. I want to have telepathic powers. I want to be able to kill people with my mind. And I like fairy type. Fairy type is just an amazing typing. What can't it do?
I love...
True. The Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The over OP dragon for many, many years.
What do you think of Paradox Pokemon?
They're fine. I have a lot of feeling about the future Paradox types and the past Paradox types in what they are saying about those two timelines is what they're saying about the timelines that I don't particularly find inspiring. I think the designs are good, but they took such a weird sanitized future feel, like everything is chrome, as if it is a foregone conclusion that we will not have nature in the future. And that's a really, both that and how they sort of looked at the violence of the past, both are very dystopian for my tastes that I hope they explore a little bit more. Because right now they both have this sort of weird dystopian that only the present is good, and I'm not keyed into that whole storyline right now. I don't think it's a great tactic. I think they have beautiful designs. I just don't like what the designs say about the periods that they come from.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah, I feel that I've never thought of it that way, but that's... Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Violet Paradoxes, and for a similar reason as you, I don't see why it has to be like, everything turns to metal, very Age of Ultron-esque.
It's everything turns to metal, but also everything is uniform, so they all have the iron prefix, right? Like, so there's this weird uniformity that they're saying happens in the future that diversity fails and uniformity takes over. It's a very future chrome dystopian sort of ideal that I'm not... I mean, I like the designs they came up with. Like, I think they all look really cool. I think they look great. I think they're good spins, given the fact that they took a dystopia timeline. Like, they make sense in an unstated dystopia.
I try to imagine what else Game Freak could do to exemplify an extreme past or future, because it would probably have to be some sort of binary, right? Like, or some sort of like very specific theme, and I don't know what necessarily that would be.
I mean, they
make every Pokemon a reptile.
Yeah, I mean, they took a very easy out by saying make everything machine and thus it's future, and we know that isn't how evolution works. In a game that's based off of evolution and wild evolutionary tactics, in a game that very much takes, like, you put two things together and they make a new thing, they decided to steer away from having to think about what happens in our own evolutionary line, which means things tend to get a lot smaller and more compact. But they also didn't want to touch on at all what does the future environment look like. So they decided to bypass the future environment by saying, well, they're just machines, and thus we don't have to think about what the future environment is. They just adapted to machinery, and machinery is, in our timeline, the universal adapter, right? Like, machines work, quote unquote, everywhere, and so it doesn't matter if it's super hot or if it's super cold. Machines just work. And that is very much a tactic that they took in the Future Paradox ones to bypass having to answer a lot of questions, and I don't blame them for it. I do think it was a little lazy.
I respect that, yeah. I can definitely understand that.
I know we don't want to go too deep into it, but like I definitely feel like they wanted to almost make a difference, or they wanted to create a separation between, like when it comes to the environmental aspect, between Paradox and regional forms. I feel like regional forms are kind of like the environmental Pokemon that have They've changed because of their environment, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Think of
Yeah.
like a Alolan Executor. That's like if something was exposed to complete nature, in abundant sunlight and nutrients, it just grows like, 20 feet tall or whatever it is. But anyways, great answer. But now we want to know what your hidden power type would be, right? Something that's like within you that you just got, like it's secret. It could be fire. It could be anything.
I mean, my hidden power type that a lot of people don't have to see is dark type.
Ooh.
It is a known thing amongst my family and not amongst my friends. Some of my friends that you do not want to get me to the point of anger.
You're like you have like allegiance to the Sith, if I'm not mistaken.
No, because they are
Team Kylo.
They are not right and have very extremist views that also aren't right. If we want to get into Star Wars, we can get deep into Star Wars.
Maybe we table that for next time. Yeah.
Yeah, about the severe binary that the Sith fall into.
I do have my lightsaber though. I brought this up for you.
Mine is being the one that I built in Disney just this last weekend is being shipped to my home as we speak.
Love it.
Nice.
That's awesome. Did you get red? Let's go.
Oh, he has the crystal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Blue purple.
Oh.
I like that. This is a Star Wars
have all the
podcast
colors.
now. So dark type is your hidden power type?
Yeah.
Love it.
So would your ability be anger point then?
My main ability is contrary. I do most things out of spite.
I mean, it sounds like a very competitive Pokemon. I hope we see a Greg in Gen 10.
Gen 10.
Okay, so I want to know what your top 5 Pokemon are. Top 5 favorite Pokemon.
All right. Well, I just redid my list,
Okay.
and I will pull it up because the top 3 always stay the same. They are always Roselia, Sableye, and Boltund. Then generally Rabombi comes in around 5.
I like these picks.
But that sort of swaps with Alolan Marowak. And Baxcalibur has moved way, way, way up in the standings. So generally, like Empoleon got pushed out because of Baxcalibur. But according to the official online resources, my top 5 is Roselia, Sableye, Boltund, Rabombi, Alolan Marowak, Baxcalibur comes in at 6, Tinkaton comes in at 7, Milotic comes in at 8, Mamoswine comes in at 9, and Gardevoir comes in at 10.
Great picks.
I love the diversity of this. Like, most people are like a set, thing. Like, I'll admit I'm very basic.
They like cute.
Right. Or basic. Like for me, like some of my favorites off the top of my head are like Dragonite, Charizard, Lucario. But like you're over here with Rabombi and
Rabombi's the
Baxcalibur.
Yeah, that's it.
Rabombi is great. I do love Rabombi.
It's got
Underrated design.
Roselia and Sableye being top 2 is like, I love that so much. Those are definitely in probably my top 20. Sableye is probably in my top 5.
I love that little gremlin.
Yeah, he's so cool. So cool.
He is neat. He is very neat. I like his Mega a lot. It
And
made
it's
him
fun
very
to play
good.
in Night too, even though people hate it.
We want to know what your favorite Pokemon game is. I feel like this will be telling.
Pokemon Emerald.
Oh yeah, really?
Pokemon Emerald. Okay,
We love that. Yeah,
that's a solid game.
Emerald's one of my favorite.
Yeah,
Soul's never played it.
Would you recommend Gen 3 Hoenn or Gen 6 Hoenn?
6.
Really?
If you've never played them, going back in time to play the old mechanics and the way the old games work are super frustrating.
Yeah.
They are slow. They are grindy. They are glitchy. They have splits that don't make sense. I mean, they didn't do the physical special split. It was still based off of type. So when you go back to those old games, unless you are really willing to say, I accept this for how it was back then, it will be a frustrating experience. It moves slow. It takes forever to get places. they really relied on the old video game method of backtracking is good for your game because it extends the life of your game. So you get very much stuck in long sections of backtracking. It's,
I would push back a little bit and say I think Gen 3 is much better about that. I think way more approachable than Generation 2 and 1. There's still the physical special. There's still no split on the on those moves, but I think it's fast.
Better. It still relies on you go up and then come back down, and then come
rock
around
smash
and across,
and then you go back,
and then you go back up, and then you come back around, and then you come back around and go back out. It takes a lot of weird paths to get things done where there aren't shortcuts, whereas they put shortcuts in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, which were brilliant. Like, thank you for having somebody come and say, oh, your next thing is here. Do you want me to just get you there? Because I don't want to walk all that way anymore. Grinding isn't fun.
When did you enter the series, Greg?
My first game was Blue.
Okay.
Was it, I assume, like, what's it when Blue was out, or did you, like, jump in Gen 3 with Blue?
Nope.
Okay.
I started in 1998.
That's true.
And I was waiting in, so it was 98 when it came out here. It was 96 in Japan. It took a chunk of time to get here. I was going to go sit in line to get the special edition Star Wars tickets at Mall of America. And we knew, my brother and I were going to go sit in line we got there, we got there at like 6 in the morning and the box office opened at 3. And so I was like, well, I want to do something in line while we are just sitting there, and I'm not going to talk to my brother for 8 hours. It is not a thing that is going to happen. And I was a huge comic book reader at the time, so there was a lot of ads for this game, Pokemon, that was brand new. I'm like, well, that looks cute and fun. I'll give it a shot. So I went and bought Blue at Target specifically to play in line, and was immediately hooked the minute it started. I was like, this is the game that I've been waiting for.
That's so cool.
So I was 28. So like I'm one of the people that was an adult when we started the series. So my viewpoints of a lot of the things that happen in those series don't benefit from the fact that I was a child.
That's really interesting. I'm 28 now, and to think that maybe this year I find something that would like forever define the rest of my life. Not that Pokemon has defined your life like that necessarily, but like, Pokemon has definitely defined my life.
I mean, it has in some ways. Like,
yeah,
it is a series that I actively seek out and carve time out in my life to make sure that I fit it into my life. It is a thing that became important for me to say, this is a thing that I'm going to pursue, and this is the thing I'm going to actively spend money on and time. Yeah. And I'm going to make sure that I carve time out to make it happen. And you don't tend to do that a lot with a lot of things as you get an adult. You're like, if it doesn't make me money, I don't care.
Yeah. Today's conversation is with Hybrid Hero. Let's start with some speed round questions. We want to know what your Pokemon type would be.
Oh, water. Water, 100%. 100%. Water? Yeah, water for sure. If it wasn't water, I'd go fighting. Just because I think the diversity in fighting types is pretty cool, but water for sure.
Dude,
so would it be water fighting or just pure water?
Pure water. Pure water.
Okay. Well, our follow-up question is what your hidden power type would be. You get any type. Any type is a hidden power type.
Let's go electric.
Oh, that's sick.
Smart.
That's sick.
Might as well.
So what are your top 5 favorite Pokemon?
Dude, I just did this like favorite thing the other day, but I still don't think it's accurate. You know what I'm talking about? Like on Twitter, there's like the whole grid. But then I'm like, dang, like so like here, like for example, it says Annihilate was my favorite ghost type because in the ghost thing, it's whatever. But I have Skeledirge and Fire, but Skeledirge is definitely like I like Skeledirge over Annihilate. So like.
Mm-hmm. You gotta fit it. You gotta set it up so like you're not missing any of your favorites, right? So you can almost double up on types.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. But like, I got top 5 favorite Pokemon. That's a hard one, man. I got Blastoise here for sure. That's number 1. You got Chinchino up there too. That's for sure.
That's surprising. Nice.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Blastoise and then Chinchino. I love that.
Yeah. It's debatable between Chinchino and Minchino. I'm just gonna say Chinchino though.
Right. I usually count the lines when I say these things.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm doing, right? So like, I think Blaziken is up there. And then I'd go probably like, maybe not Torterra, maybe Gardevoir. I don't know.
I like that. Gardevoir is a great Pokemon.
Solid picks.
The internet ruined it, but Gardevoir is so good.
But I don't even know if Gardevoir would be number 5. I'm just looking at this list and I'm like, maybe, because I love Gardevoir, but is it a maybe top 10? But I have no idea who else will go in top 5. So we're gonna say Blastoise, Chinchino, Blaziken, Torterra, Gardevoir.
Let's go. That's a pretty good lineup. I guess actually at this point, give us a 6th Pokemon because then you have a full team.
You're putting me on the spot, man. You're putting me on the spot. Skeledirge?
There's 1,000 Pokemon. You should be able to capture.
I just saw Skeledirge on that list. It's pretty high.
But counterpoint, Dusty. There's 1,000 Pokemon, and I have to pick only 6. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna go Suicune.
Ooh.
Nice.
Normal Suicune.
Yeah, normal Suicune.
All right, we'll ask you later about Walking Wake.
Yeah, I know people have strong opinions on Walking Wake here. I'm not gonna say who, but I know someone does.
Let's save it. Let's just save it for a second. Bro, so what is your favorite Pokemon game? I think this one's really telling.
Oh, this one's easy. You've never heard me gush about Black and White? I love Black and White.
Let's go.
Black and White is hands down. See, I think Scarlet and Violet's coming close. It might even be one at this point, but we'll see till DLC comes out. But Black and White, I think gameplay is fire. It's like smooth,
it's
fast,
quick, bro.
Yeah, it's quick. I think it has the best story, best ending to any main series Pokemon title. Like, that thing goes hard, and it's the supreme character. He's the rival, the villain, the champion all at once. And I think this was the first time I really enjoyed like the revamp of having a whole new decks with not being able to use old Pokemon. I thought that made for like you're forced to try something new, and I thought it was really cool. I was one of those people who at first was like, it's kind of whack, but then I played through it. I'm like, this is great. And I just think Black and White, like, it hits. The music hits, the gameplay hits, the Elite Four, the champion, everything about it. I think it's 10 out of 10. I like it more than Black 2 and White 2. I know that's most people prefer Black 2 and White 2. Yeah, I know most people prefer Black 2 and White 2, but for me, Black and White supreme. Scarlet and Violet's coming close. If the only thing for me, and I guess we'll talk more about this later, the only thing for me is that I feel like Scarlet and Violet's story was like all put together like 2 hours in the end.
Yep.
And like I feel like there's so much more potential, and I think that will be touched upon. But I'm also a little nervous. I'm like, I don't know how the DLC is going to cover it. We'll talk about it. If the DLC can take care of it properly, it will be top. Because I can replay Scarlet and Violet like no tomorrow. Which I can't do with Black and White. You know what I'm saying? Black and White, I can play through it a few times. It's great, amazing. Scarlet and Violet's replayable. I think the story is like there, but like not there yet. So
today we are joined by High Res Pokemon. Tell the people who you are.
Well, I have a little blog, a little Twitter, and I scan and restore and archive old Pokemon art. Mainly old Pokemon art because I'm nostalgic, and art that needs preserving because we don't have a Sugimori art book or an official art book, so I think we deserve it. That's why I scan Pokemon art.
I'm honestly really excited to have you. I think you've been in the community for a really long time, but let's start this interview with some speed round questions.
Yeah, sure.
What would your Pokemon type be, and what would your hidden power type be?
Right. My favorite type used to be water type for a very long time, but now I feel it's electric. So I would definitely be an electric type now.
Okay.
And perhaps my hidden power, not water, even if I think my water Pokemon are going to get offended. But I think it should be something quite wicked, like Ghost or Dark or Psychic or Poison. Poison, maybe.
Yeah.
He's prepared for these questions.
Yeah, I prepared for 2 or 3 questions.
You listen to the show, right?
Yeah, I do. It's very relaxing, even because you got all different opinions on things.
Yeah.
So it's not boring. You're not just repeating the same stuff over and over. You're just fighting about things. So it's
Well, thank you. Yeah,
entertaining.
it's unifying, right? We like to just like disagree. It brings us closer together. So yeah, I honestly love when a guest says that their hidden power would be dark or ghost type, because I wonder like what their personal secrets are. Like,
I have
what have you done in your past?
I don't know. I have no secret to find myself. I like purple. I think it's just because I like
purple.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
That's fair.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So what? So I'm making a lot of assumptions about what maybe your favorite Pokemon are, but can you clarify what maybe your top 5 are?
Nidoking. I don't know. I've never pronounced.
That's purple.
I never pronounced Pokemon names aloud. I think.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
So I might. Yeah. And I might pronounce them with an Italian accent because I never pronounce them in English. So
naturally,
I wonder if you're gonna understand.
Wait, should you give it to us in Italian and we have to guess who
Yeah,
it is?
I like that.
No,
Let's do that.
we have the same names. We have the same.
Oh,
names.
okay.
Yeah, but the pronunciation is quite different.
Okay.
For example, I don't know, Venusaur.
Yeah.
Venice. What is it?
They can't guess it even from that.
Venusaur.
I know exactly.
Bulbasaur.
Oh, Venusaur.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, no, I can get that.
How do you say septile?
Septile. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because some sound like Latin and some sound like Italian. So those are totally different because they sound too much like Latin words, like Bulbasaur and Venusaur. It's literally, yeah. And Cubone, we used to call it in middle school, Cubone. Cubone, because we didn't know the meaning of it. So it was like
I like that.
which means big cube in Italian.
Oh, any other favorites? Nidoking's
Nido
one of them.
King.
Yeah, I think Nidoking never left my tier list because I really love the whole family. I love kaiju Pokemon in general. So I also love Mega Aggron. Shiny Mega Aggron, I think, is the best version.
Very nice.
The shiny one. And perhaps Clefairy. I really like Clefairy because of its... because it's cute and weird. Also, it's the main character of the original manga, which is really funny. I might also like... I said 3. So I need an electric type. Electivire.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah,
We like
the shiny one. I have a shiny one on Pokemon Go, and I really love him because it's got teal accents. And I think they're better
Shinies.
than the red accents.
I agree.
It's a small detail, but I think it's better.
It has like blue eyes, maybe.
Yeah, it's blue, teal blue, and those little bulbs. What are they on its
I guess,
tails?
bulbs.
Yeah, they're also blue. And so it's 4, and Chandelure, maybe?
Great picks. Yeah.
That's cool.
Chandelure. How do you pronounce it?
Chandelure is...
Chandelier.
Well, you should also know that I will mispronounce every Pokemon wrong. So that is what I'm well known for.
It's true. I was wondering how you would understand each other, to be honest, because he has a different American accent. Than
I've got a southern, an old country accent.
Actually, I think I can understand American accents because I consume a lot of American media, of course.
Sure.
I think I have trouble with British accents, even if I studied in London, actually. But I have trouble understanding British accents.
I was going to ask you because it sounds like that you learned from a British or English person.
Yeah, I studied in London, actually.
Yeah.
But like 12 years ago, I haven't been speaking English for a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I think it's a kind of a mixed accent, mixed thing right now. Yeah.
Sounds great.
What is your favorite Pokemon game?
Oh, well, the game I play the most is Pokemon Black or White, one of the two. Okay. So I think those are my favorites, because when I left Pokemon when I was, like 14, 15, so it was Pokemon Ruby. It was the last Pokemon game I played before a long break. And then I came back when Pokemon Go came out, and they just lured me back with all the nostalgia and thing. And I started from Pokemon Black, so it was a really good beginning, good new beginning. And I thought, oh well, Pokemon has been doing well while I was out. And no, I just fooled myself. It wasn't because yeah, it's Generation 5 is really good. I think it's really entertaining. It's full of things, full of tiny little details. It's really
Yes, the details.
I
for
thought,
me.
yeah, I think they really cared about those games. And then I played Pokemon Sun after Pokemon Black, and I said, "Oh wow, no, that's not it. No." I
There's
felt in a
there's-
cage.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So it's something. I guess you're thinking. I was thinking about the world, but you're right. You're probably thinking about the dialogue and the linearity.
Yeah, I just
of the
felt
region.
it was just like a interactive book. I couldn't do anything. I just had to follow the story and listen to
Yeah.
people. It was just a book. I
Yeah.
mean, read books, guys, you children. read books. But I was not. I didn't want to read a book. So yeah, I think Pokemon Black. Yeah, Generation 5 in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's not necessarily black and white, but I feel like there is something that I can't quite describe, but as someone who grew up playing the pixel art, the 2D top-down games, no matter how good the game is, even Legends Arceus does not have the same feel for me, and it's not necessarily like a good or bad feeling. I think it has something to do with the way that I internalize and memorize and am able to like map out the region and remember it in my brain. Right,
Yeah,
like when you look at a picture, you can see a map. You can that's up, that's over here, that's over here. And with these open world games, or at least 3D games, the camera's no longer fixed and it moves in all sorts of directions, right? Like think of how confusing Lumio City is. No offense, right? It's crazy.
Because
And
we got the mayor of Lumio City.
Yeah, we do. Yes. And I feel like there's something there, and I haven't done the proper research. Maybe I don't quite understand it, but my brain feels it. Or maybe I'm just getting old. And
No,
I
you're
haven't played the
right.
games as much.
You're right. It's a little more confusing, because the cameras are not that good, to be honest. So
Yeah.
it's a little more confusing. However, I think it's a matter of coherence of the art style, of the graphic style, because the pixel art managed to be coherent. So everything
that
was
could
in
be
the
it.
same style, while Game Freak can't really make a coherent 3D game. I mean, some assets are in a style, some assets are pixelated, some textures are bad, some NPCs are realistic, some NPCs are cartoonish. So I think this breaks the immersion a lot.
Interesting.
Because I mean, Pokemon Let's Go is actually a really cute game, and it works better than most recent 3D Pokemon games because it's coherent. Because
Yeah.
That's
everything
true.
is in the same style. It's just this, so it feels there's a thought behind it, while the other games like Arceus and this one Scarlet and Violet are a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
What game do you think has your favorite art style? Would that also be black and white?
I don't know. No, I actually don't know. I really enjoyed Pokemon Go. Let's Go, actually.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the graphics because they looked plasticky or made of rubber, but
Yeah.
they were real. I don't know. They felt real. The atmosphere, the mood was really.
It was very colorful. It was so vibrant.
Yeah, it felt real. I don't like the recent 3D games. I think maybe either the fifth generation or the fifth generation might be the best in pixel art. Yeah.
I'd never thought about what you just said. It's actually really true about Let's Go. I didn't think about that. It is like the most probably coherent art style throughout probably any Pokemon game. I've never Never put two and two together.
I've been
yeah.
telling you guys, Let's Go is a lot of fun, and it's.
I mean,
really
we're not
pretty
talking
and
about
it's
how
well
fun it
polished.
is, but
I
we're
feel
talking
like
about what it looks like.
BDSP. I feel like they wanted to create something like that for BDSP, and I don't know what it was, but
They
that's
dropped
not.
the ball.
Yeah, they dropped the ball, and I'm hoping if they continue to outsource, these like kind of, I don't know if they're rushed or these like, one-to-one remakes of older games. I would love if they could find a way to polish it as much as Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I'd be super happy with that.
Well,
even if there were one-to-one remakes or reports.
Let's Go wasn't outsourced, I don't think either. Though.
No, it wasn't.
No,
Just
I think they
no.
Wasn't it a joint project though? Didn't Niantic work on it some? Or was that just
Probably
for the
just
Go
for the
connectivity?
integration.
Okay.
Probably. I don't know though.
I am not a fan of Let's Go, but I have always
Yeah,
said
of course.
it's best quality, and it genuinely is a really good quality, is the art style. Like, that came out in the same generation as Sun and Moon, which were, set in Hawaii, the Pokemon version of Hawaii, and yet Let's Go is a more vibrant, colorful environment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite game. Let's Go. It's not my favorite game, but
Right.
it's pleasant to look at.
Yeah.
If you take a snapshot, it's a cool snapshot. Feels like a drawing. Feels like an illustration. If you take a snapshot in Violet, Scarlet, and Violet, you could just end up with broken textures and weird things.
Your player falling through the world.
Yeah, broken limbs. And,
Yeah.
I think,
mayhem.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. What actually, so something else I really do like about Let's Go is that even like the art, the 2D art, reflects the style of the actual 3D assets. Like the 2D art, I feel like the characters have big heads. They're not quite chibi. I feel like people throw that term around, but they look. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like they look a lot smaller in like they have stylized proportions.
Yeah.
So I like that as well.
They're trying to be like a proper remake, basically.
Yeah.
Like a 3D Gen 1.
Welcome back to Hidden Power. SoulSilverArt is on his way back to the States. Instead, we've got our good friend, Linky.
How we doing, everybody?
What's up, man? How you been? I'm so glad that you're on the show today. We've been trying to get you for a little while now. This is the speed round segment of the podcast. You are a new guest. We want to get to know you. I've known you for, I think we were talking about, 2 years now since Legends Arceus. I don't actually think I know why you're called Linky. Do you want to explain that to me? Because I was surprised that you didn't make any Tears of the Kingdom content. That could be a misconception.
It's a misconception because I didn't grow up playing Zelda games. The first Zelda game that I fully played was Breath of the Wild when the Switch came out. Okay. So my name was not a reference to Zelda in any form. It just kind of ended up working out that way. I don't actually know where the name came from. The name is so old that when I was like 7 years old, it was my name on Webkins when I was first going on the internet for the first time.
Nice. Flashback.
I think I could still access that account. So that's where the name.
Digital animals that are rotting.
Yes. Oh God, those poor animals.
Yeah.
So that's where the name comes from, and I just kind of stuck with it ever since.
All right, that makes sense. Linky, Lumi told me that. What would you think? That
my speculation. I told him I actually felt dumb because I felt like my initial assumption should have been Zelda, but my assumption was actually Link Cable. That's where my brain went.
I wish.
But,
I should really just retcon it and make something up.
You should rebrand to that. Link Cable is
cool.
I think we wanted to call this podcast like the Link Cable Podcast.
I would have had to issue a copyright strike.
Yeah. Schmack. What would your type be if you were a Pokemon, and what would your hidden power type be?
Oh my goodness. Probably a water type. That's the type that I've always liked. That was my favorite type growing up. Lapras, Vaporeon, Swampert, some of my favorite Pokemon. A hidden power type.
Yeah, so you have to answer it like it's like your astrology sign. Like, what is your like rising moon? I don't know what that means, but like
I know the sign, but is it different if it's a rising? Like, I think I'm a Capricorn.
You could be double water. I think you could be double water.
Okay. Is Capricorn a water sign? I don't know.
Well, we haven't really defined what the hidden power type means. Like, a lot of people have kind of said, Oh, well, I feel like I've kind of got like a dark side to me that I don't really show. So I'm going to go with dark type, you know?
Okay, that's good. I think I'll go with
Yeah, like what do you? Yeah, that's actually good. Like what do you feel in your heart, but you don't actually show the world?
Your secret side.
I think I'll go with ice type. sometimes I just don't want to be bothered. Sometimes people gotta like back off, and I feel like ice type kind of gives that energy.
I like that. Yeah. You've left me on red before. I like that.
Oh, don't take offense to that. It's not personal.
No. Yeah, I like that.
That's okay, Linky. I leave him on red all the time.
He does. He actually does. All right, Linky, what are your top 6 favorite Pokemon of all time? This would be your dream team. This is like your Silver League Conference, Indigo League dream team.
I'm gonna just list them off without thinking about it, or else we're gonna be here for half an hour.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
You can pick unevolved Pokemon.
Yeah, we're gonna go Swampert. We're gonna go Chikorita. We're gonna go Lapras, Stoutland, Torterra, and Beware.
This is very main character.
Okay, I love that Stoutland.
Beware is good.
I love when people have like very obscure mons.
I sunk so much time into Sun and Moon when they first came out, like 200 hours within the first 3 weeks. I was absolutely having a blast. I was so into it, wanted to complete the Pokedex, everything. Took it on bus rides, everything. And there are so many great Alola Pokemon that are so underrated. Beware, Palisand, Lycanroc. So they're Araquanid. They're all. It's great. There's so many great generation.
It was a hard hitting game, like with designs. The Pokemon designs were top notch, and there was kind of something for everyone too. Like you had the, you had more cute stuff. You had really like cool stuff like Golisopod, and then of course the Ultra Beasts were like really weird, like Picasso like takes on Pokemon.
I will throw one honorable mention in as legendary, Rayquaza.
Oh yes,
that's legendary.
Oh yes,
it really is perfect.
Very nice.
I think I think Generation 7, I was thinking about that. I was looking at just like a list of Pokemon, and I was like, wow, these Gen 7 Pokemon are actually super old, and somehow almost like they're like 8 years old.
Oh
right?
my
like,
God,
when did it come out? 2016? Think about it. Like, that's a long time. That is a really long time. And it makes me realize, like, it's without fail. Like, you give a generation a couple years, and all of a sudden, you're like,
think about how many
designs are perfect.
So many people, like, I grew up with Generation 7. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I know Zach's first game was Gen 9. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not that young.
The running joke is that he's young, but
I bet Linky's around my age.
I think so.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
23.
Okay, see? Look, there we go. Finally, we've got a young man on the podcast. I'm sick of dealing with these old people, man.
Are you an old 22 or a young 22?
I will turn 23 in November.
Okay, I turned 23 in January. My first game was Emerald and then Leaf Green. So, like, I'll tell myself, like, oh, those are the games I grew up with. But the games that I played when I was, like, going into my teenage years were black and white. And I don't associate that with, like, the years I was growing up, but it kind of was. Like, those are the games. I remember getting the special edition DSi for Pokemon Black. That was, like, the white DSi, getting it on launch day.
Yeah.
That's, like, the first game, the second game I got on launch, and it's like, wow, those are actually, like, my childhood memories.
No, dude, this is so validating. Finally, there's someone, like, that's had my experience, because I started with Fire Red. Black and White was my first game that I got on launch day, because we tried to, it was me and my two best friends, we tried to convince my mother to take us to GameStop the day before and see if we could get early, you know, because we're kids. We don't realize that, like,
you have to
they can get in serious trouble if they do that. But yeah, man, good times.
It was Heart Gold was the first one I got, or no, it was Platinum was the first one I got on launch. That little Giratina figure that you could get from GameStop, and then it was Heart Gold, and then the first cycle that I, like, paid attention to the leaks and rumors, like, somewhat significantly was Black and White. I'd have a friend come over, he'd be like, "There's a Z Pokemon that they're teasing," and it ended up being Zoroark, and for the longest time I thought it was legendary. Because of that whole cycle.
Remember two things that's really fun to remember, super nostalgic. First off, the Cora leaks.
Yes.
From the Black, White, Black 2, White 2 days. Those were great. And then you mentioned the Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and I instantly thought of the commercials with the Sprouts Brothers.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I've used whenever I get a
They're on
chance
the
to
beach.
use that footage in a video, I jump on it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and the way they pronounce Pokemon, it's like I think it's like that.
Pokemon.
Yeah, I love my Pokemon. I can walk with my Pokemon.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
When he clips his Pokemon
on his
I almost
brother.
called it a Pokemon Go Plus, but the Pokewalker
I
to his brother.
I was
Yeah.
watching that commercial like 3 days ago on YouTube when I was at it because I was like, can I use this? Can I justify throwing this in?
It was that and Danimals. They were always on the Danimals
Man,
commercials.
it's funny because I think I was also equally influenced by these kids. Those two guys. The Sprouse brothers.
They're the best.
They sold me everything.
Oh yeah. I was always proud that my name was Zach.
It's those commercials, and then it's seeing the Pokemon floats and statues at the Thanksgiving Day parade in New York City. When they would have the Pikachu float, but they would also have like a couple of years they had statues rolling down the road of like the legendary Pokemon for the newest games. There was one generation where they did that, and those are like the core memories for me.
Didn't the first Black and White movie, the Zekrom Reshiram movie, didn't that release in theaters? It was like select theaters.
All right. Thank God Black and White is the topic today. They did a tour for the release of Black and White where they went to malls across the United States. You could play a demo of the game, and then if the mall had a movie theater, they also showed the Zoroark movie in theaters.
Cool.
So I convinced my dad to drive me to Pennsylvania. I think it was in Philadelphia.
How far away
was
is that
the
from you?
closest mall. It's probably about 100 miles. So it's about 90 miles from the city.
Yeah.
So it's probably about 100 miles from me, maybe a little bit more.
2 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we drove to the mall, so I got to play a demo of Black and White and got to see the Zoroark movie in theaters, and at a little kiosk in the middle of the mall, they were showing the first handful of anime episodes for Black and White. So I remember sitting in like these couches with all these kids having their DSs out, playing Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Platinum, and watching the Shadow of Zekrom episode, which I think was the premiere of that season of the anime.
That is so cool.
That's a core memory right there.
It was awesome. It was the best.
So much of my Pokemon consumption is like just in this basement or like in my room. You know what I'm saying? And like back in the day, you could like literally there'd be like booths at Toys R Us. I remember there was like a Lego building competition for like Lego Star Wars. You had to like build the like largest lightsaber. I have so many like weird memories at like malls.
Yeah,
not to drag us more. Not to drag us more off topic, I'll throw one more story in now that it's there.
We're on Black and White. We're fine.
Yes, this is pre-Black and White. They did the VGC tournaments, and for Platinum, I convinced again. I don't know why my dad ever agreed to any of this, but I convinced him to take me to Philadelphia for a VGC tournament for Platinum. They don't hold anything in this city. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Unova has nothing apparently.
Yeah.
So we managed to go there, and the VGC referee who came over to my table to watch my match was the old Pokemon YouTuber Maryland. He was a ref in that tournament.
He's a legend.
So in that tournament, Maryland emceed my game that I lost.
Are you kidding me? That's sick.
And they gave away a shiny Milotic to everybody who attended that tournament.
Did you get it?
I have the shiny Milotic somewhere.
Oh, no way.
I think it's locked in my Wii in Pokemon Ranch.
Oh God.
Why? Because
you could transfer the Pokemon to Ranch, but if you reset your copy of Platinum, you couldn't transfer the Pokemon back.
Oh, that's
so there's a way to get them with an action replay. You can change your ID number to do it. I haven't done it, but I still have that Milotic.
Yeah, at that point you might as well just like recreate it and like have someone send it to you. That's really cool though. That's awesome. That's a special memory.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
so
cool.
Neat. So how old were you when that would have happened? Like
Platinum came out 2009?
That sounds about right, because Black and White was 2010.
I know Heart Gold Soul Silver came out before that.
So I want to say that it was probably spring or summer of 2010. So after Platinum released. It was sometime in the year after Platinum released. I want to say.
Or you'd have just turned 10 or 11.
So
10.
I would have been 10, yeah.
That's so cool. Especially like when you're a kid, that stuff just hits so much harder.
Mm-hmm.
That's so nice.
It was great. It was awesome.
I'm living vicariously through your childhood now.
Yeah, this is definitely bringing me back. I was gonna say earlier, I was gonna ask you what your first game was, so you said that, but you said something where it's like, and I identify with this, where it's like you have this one era of like discovery with Pokemon, and then you kind of fall out of love with it, and then you have this like resurgence period where you're playing so much. And for me, I think what you're describing kind of lines up. For me, the first gen was like Gen 2, like blue version, and then Gen 2. That was like the first core memory of like discovery. And then I think it was around Gen 4, Heart Gold, Soul Silver specifically, and Black 2 or Black White, Black 2, White 2. That was like those were like my two core eras. So I liked what you said about that. I do want to ask you what your favorite Pokemon game is.
It's Platinum. Platinum is probably my favorite game. If I had to give a top 3, just because I think it sometimes I'll alternate, it's probably Platinum, Emerald, and honestly now Legends Arceus are probably my top 3.
Dude, yeah, honestly.
Legends
I thought I was an old
great.
head who I like for so long I was like, man, the old games are better, like, and I was like, oh, I'm an old head. Like, why can I not enjoy a modern game? But it's Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus is the modern game.
Yeah, I've made my peace with the fact that I think it's just normal that people's favorite games are the ones that are nostalgic to them.
Sure.
So in like 15 years, I'm sure I'll have a wildly different opinion of some of the more modern games than I do now. But it's Emerald, it's Platinum, and then it's Legends Arceus at this point.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm getting insecure about this, but like, Zach, it is true. I'm not even saying you're judging me, but like, it is true that like I have had plenty of fun with the modern Pokemon games, but when it comes to my big thing is replayability, right? And we've discussed that like a lot of these modern games, they don't incentivize replaying, and then it turns into just like a central battle hub where you collect things and then grow your Pokemon. Where Legends Arceus actually felt like the adventure, the replayability option that I'm always looking for.
I'll give Scarlet and Violet major credit. It's the first game in a very long time that I actively like want to go back to and replay again, because I had such a good time. Once I got about 4 hours in, once I cleared some of the starting areas, I had such an awesome time just exploring and running around the region and building up a team. And I can absolutely see myself pulling out my copy of Scarlet, which is the game I didn't play from the start, and playing through it before the DLC again. I can absolutely see myself doing that.
You could even play it alongside the DLC because Teal Mask will be accessible once you get to Mesa Goza.
Welcome back to Hidden Power. Today is a very special episode. We are joined by Jake from Game Explain to discuss all of the new Pokemon rumors. We're talking Scarlet and Violet DLC, Generation 5 remakes, Switch 2. We discuss the state of the Pokemon franchise, and there's even a little bit of Zelda talk. My name is DustyGogoat. With me is LumiosePost.
Hello.
And SoulSilverArt.
What's up?
Enjoy the episode. Jake, thank you so much for being here with us. How you doing today?
Oh, doing so well. So happy to be on the pod. I can't believe you guys made room for me. Excited to talk about Pokemon.
Yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about. It's funny how we actually met. So, Jake, you were on Twitter reading some rumors, reading some leaks, and you kind of put a call out to the world. Actually, no. You put a call out to SoulSilverArt specifically, and then we said, dude, come on the podcast, and Soul will explain everything to you.
Sure. I definitely appreciate this act of kindness being shown to me, making sure I've got the right ideas about all of this stuff.
Do you want to let us know what your background is?
So right now I work over at Game Explain. That's where you can see a lot of my content covering all sorts of video games. I'm a big fighting game guy, but I love Pokemon, and I think I did probably the lion's share of the coverage leading up to Scarlet and Violet. So did a lot of Pokemon stuff there, went to all the previews, did the demos, that kind of thing. And in addition to all that, I'm a writer and comedian, so I still like kind of perform around town every so often. I don't tour anymore. And have a background in screenwriting, and I'm currently writing a novel. So that's
Dude, Love
Wow.
this.
Ooh.
The fact that you have so many accolades that are in real life and are not just based around your YouTube channel or Instagram, I love that. Well, like this is very new for the channel.
Cool. Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. There's stuff that the first game did that I think no other game has done as well, and I'm always kind of looking for a return to those kinds of feelings. Are people interested in hearing about this, or is this, is this a
go for it?
Okay. So to me, the thing that's beautiful, I think Pokemon Red and Blue are one of the best made games of all time. And I really believe in this, and I know what people are gonna say. I know the glitches, the battle system. I know all of this stuff. I know it's there. But the thing that to me that is beautiful about this video game is that it is about simple, borderline meaningless choices. You are a kid out on an adventure. The first thing you've got to do, it's all about the freedom to make these choices. So when you are this kid, you're in this town, the first thing that you get is choose between one of these 3 Pokemon. That's your first choice. And that choice gives you...
I'll stop you there.
Please.
The first choice you make is which version of the game that you're gonna get.
Okay, you ruined my punchline. I was gonna get to that, and I was gonna go, but actually, and I said, okay. But and what I love about this is this freedom of choice. The first choice, the choice in your starter Pokemon is what liberates you. It gives you the freedom to leave your town that you've been stuck in this whole time because it was too dangerous to go off on your own. And from there, like you choose your 4 moves. You get to choose if you want this game to be easy or hard. Are you gonna grind in the wild and make it easy, or are you just gonna keep going and make it hard? You get to choose if you're gonna have these party members join you, these weird little guys, or choose to just level up your Charizard all the way through and have them carry you through the game. And I think that in future games, they add in like, even looking at like Gold and Silver, because a lot of people ask me, they're like, why wouldn't you say that these are better? And I think they are more interesting and maybe even better games in some ways. But to me, you add in breeding, you add in berries, you add in Lugia and Ho-Oh being
all the time day events.
Sure. And all of these systems all of a sudden are now on top of what I think was this really pure experience, and it's overcomplicating it in a way. So I like the babies. I've never liked the babies. I feel like that's it's never interested me. And then like I think there's like an annoying focus on NPCs sometimes in modern Pokemon games in a way that I don't super love. So, which is something I really kind of liked about Legends Arceus when I'm just like out there doing my own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like are Pokemon Red and Blue like my favorite games? Actually, no, but I do think they're the best.
I think this is something that I don't think I've ever thought about, because you're right. Even every single game adds on a new function, whether it's or gimmick, right? And they're ways to entice new players, but by diluting the core experience of what a Pokemon game is, whether it's contests or now all of a sudden you have like hidden abilities, you have this all of a sudden battling gets more complex with like the special physical split. There's like the battle tower. There's all these extra things, not even to mention any of the gimmicks, right? Mega Gigantamax. I think you make a really good point. And it is true, like how bare bones those games are. I've always felt like Pokemon was secretly low-key an open world game, or at least some of the older ones, right? And there were some elements of that when it comes to like battling or taking on the gyms into any order you want. Like you can kind of skip getting cut and then go up. You don't even need to fight Lieutenant Surge. There's some elements like that. But so like it makes me think like I mean I've always felt like open world Pokemon games could be a really strong thing. I'm realizing that maybe it's just too big of a, I don't know, it's like maybe the worlds are too big for it to be actually, fun or implemented correctly. Or maybe there's a lot of things that could prevent like a modern engine open world Pokemon game from like actually being fulfilling. But I don't know. At this point, I'm like, they're right there. They could do it, and I don't know if it's actually ever going to come to fruition. Or if like Legends is just going to be a highlight for the next decade.
I think what makes it really tough is that the endless expansion of the Pokemon world, and I think ultimately the thing that I want to be focused on, I want a Pokemon game that's about meaningful choices, and not meaningful in terms of like they drastically change like how the game goes, but meaningful for my own like personal experience. And a material way I think about this all the time is like HMs. I think we all probably agree HMs annoying. annoying.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be annoying.
Right.
And
But
that's
here's
what makes
other
the
thing.
Pokemon on your team valuable.
Right. And in modern Pokemon games, what you get instead of HMs are, okay, I'm going to ride this Weirdeer around. I'm going to fly this specific creature around. I'm going to use this thing. And I really don't like that it's the same for everybody. I don't like that we're all using the same thing. And I think it would be so much more powerful if it was like, okay, we're about to like surf across this lake. You can use any number of these guys. It doesn't even have to be a freaking swimming one. It can just be a flying one, and you're like skirting on the top. You know what I mean? It's like figure it out, make it work.
They did a little bit of that.
That's about your experience, you know?
In the Gen 3 remakes, there was a little bit of that where there were 3 surf Pokemon that you could use, Sharpedo, Whalmer, or Kyogre, which is interesting.
Let's Go as well, really. Because,
yeah,
you could ride on Gyarados or Lapras. Let's Go, so that's saying something.
Oh, no. Okay, I kind of
go off.
Let's Go, and that was a big part for me, is that I felt like the game cared about how I felt as a player and my connection to Pokemon. Like, you beat a gym, and I go, Eevee, high five, let's go, dude. It's like, heck yes, look at that connection I've got with my little dude. And like that part of it, I was like, oh my god, they understand the emotional connection. They know I've got a Snorlax and I need to ride on his belly. They know
I need to do that.
Yes, I need to. Obviously that's what I'm gonna do.
I wish I could ride in Kangaskhan's pouch.
Yeah, that would have been
Wait,
cool.
no, that was
missed opportunity. Was it in there?
You could ride on Kangaskhan. Was it in the pouch?
I gotta
Somebody look it up.
I'm looking it up.
But yeah, so the thing for me is that like nothing in the game was like, Jake, you got to get the Snorlax and you got to ride on its belly. It was just, hey, do you have a Snorlax? Did you bring it out of
that? You can.
Let's
You're
go!
on its shoulder.
Oh,
You're on its shoulder though, not its pouch.
But Eevee's in the pouch.
Eevee's in the pouch.
Yeah.
Eevee's in the pouch. That's good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Plus, I love that Let's Go art style. I know some people don't like it. To me,
that's a great art style.
I'm a huge defender. The colors, dude. I'm all about the colors, man.
Best art style on the Switch, I would say. And I am a big Let's Go hater.
I think so too, actually. If I could pick one, it might be that one. I really like it.
Because
for sure.
Yeah, while Arceus was like pretty, it was still kind of muddy, right? Like it still felt like okay, this could have been like polished a little bit more. I felt like
a lot of that was a choice though. Like I felt like that was deliberate because it was
okay.
Like they were going for like a watercolor theme because it's so old timey.
Yeah, but
it added to the game for me because it felt like that.
Oh, I get you. Because maybe if it's not super vivid, like if the colors aren't like super high in saturation. Then like
it almost felt
a little
like
bit more
the
realistic.
Whole thing was like reading an old book, and I kind of liked that.
Yeah, I feel
you know
like
what's the you really quick. You know what's the cheat code for Pokemon games? By the way, do all of you have OLED Switches?
Yeah,
no, I don't.
That I gotta say that vivid mode on the OLED Switch, it makes the Pokemon look how I want them to look.
Really? Man,
yeah.
Now
What's
I have
the
to buy
vivid
an
mode?
OLED, and there's a Switch 2 coming out next year.
Yeah.
I agree though, 100%.
That's wild. I wonder if there's something to be said about like maybe a Pokemon game really should just be limited in the scope and size of it, right? Because Let's Go is great. I think Let's Go is a ton of fun. The things I don't like about it were like deliberate choices, and they were not shortcomings, right? It was like I don't like the
but
controller.
Deliberate choices that are bad are still bad.
Fine, but they can fix it. They can fix it.
So bad.
What is wrong with them in the controller? You can't use a Pro
it was-
controller in that video game, but you
That's
can
why it
play
was
it
bad.
handheld.
That's Game Freak logic.
See,
Broken brain.
yeah, that's why it was bad. But going back to what you were talking about, just like the limitedness of it, if that's the right way to say it. But I was thinking that as you were speaking, Jake, like, so is the solution to make like even more limits, like they cut the national decks. So like, you know, let's say they release a game where you can travel, you can surf on like 15 different Pokemon, but the number of Pokemon that you can catch is like 200, and that's it. And that's it for that game. And they don't add other ones because the whole debate. Yeah, the whole debate is just that they don't have the resources or the capabilities, whatever you want to call it, to model like all of these Pokemon to travel on their back. So like in an ideal world, you'd be like, I want to travel on every single Pokemon, and we're just like over 1,000, and they're just.
I mean, in an ideal world, I would go to the Pokemon company and I would say, "Hey, listen, it's 2023. You're a modern AAA video game developer. It's time for you to spend some more money on these games. And I understand that you think you can spend this little budget and make this huge return. I understand that, but you do not know the ways, right? But you do not know the ways that it would benefit you to properly invest in a studio, even if it's just to get some contract workers in there and have them do all of this modeling work that we always talk about like it's some impossible thing, even though it's not. But that aside,
I agree 100%.
Yeah, but that aside, would I be overjoyed at a game that says, "Hey, there are 150 Pokemon in this game. It's a new world, and oh boy, did we spend time doing mechanics. You can toss out a fire Pokemon and burn down a tree. That's new." Like, man, that'd be sick. You can toss out an ice Pokemon and freeze that lake. It's like, oh, great.
And travel on top of it to get to items like in the seasons. Oh, that's so cool.
Let me have a connection with this guy that lets me do something with him specific. Let me, like, you know what I mean? It's like, let me actually use these things in a way that is different from how I used them when I was 6. And like the games just seem so diametrically opposed to that.
Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast, and our special guest, Drogain. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man.
Like, when it comes to the ownership of Pokemon, what does that look like in maybe 10 years, right? Is there a scenario where Game Freak would not have
Disney buys it and then sells it to Apple?
See, yeah, right. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. But what I'm saying is, like, this is what I go back to, right? Disney bought Star Wars, right? Disney bought Marvel. Those are different eras for those franchises at that point, right?
Yes, it is.
If all of a sudden Nintendo has full access or a majority, 50%, whatever of Pokemon, right? What like do their designs? It might be like a better game, but maybe the Pokemon suck. I don't know, right? Maybe the stories suck.
I don't think they'd mess with the designs. You guys talked about this a little bit last week or a couple weeks ago in one of your other podcasts. Soul brought up a good point where he said he doesn't think they would mess up with the designs. I don't think they would either. What I think that they would do is because now they're in more control, they're going to be like, "Hey, we own this franchise. It needs to be up to our standards. Yeah. I don't want to see myself fall through Glaciato Mountain today. I want to go to the top of Glaciato Mountain and see like a Garchomp fly over and scream at me in a cinematic way. You know, that's what the expectations. The expectations would change for less crunch time probably and more resources, because if you go back to Gold and Silver's days, the original president of Nintendo at that time immensely is the one responsible for getting those games off the ground. 100%.
Nintendo is?
Yes. Yeah. I forget his name, but the president at the time who took over for Nintendo at that time was instrumental for Gold and Silver even being made in a lot of ways.
Was it Gold and Silver or Red and Blue?
Was it Shigeru Miyamoto?
It was one of those times. So yeah, I was hoping you'd be able to find out for me.
I think it is. I think it was Miyamoto, and it was that he was like super involved, just like you're saying. He basically made it happen because he put. I think if I remember correctly, it's really bad as a Pokemon fan that we should know these things, but they basically had too much data or whatever. They had too much going on, and he figured out a way to make it all fit on to the cartridge.
Yeah, they even referenced that, and I always thought it was really cool. In Sun and Moon, if you go to the Game Freak office, and it's not Howoli City, it's the one on Akala Island. Hia, I think is it. But you go to the Game Freak office and they will say, let me tell you about Miyamoto. And they talk about when we were developing the games, Gold and Silver, we actually didn't have, and they tell you the whole story. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool, yeah.
So to rope that back around, my point is, we're bringing all this up, not to steer too far off topic and go back to where the leaks are concerned. Let's say Nintendo owned most of the shares of Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
If those leaks came out, people would be fired. Like that's exactly what would happen. That would never happen under Nintendo's leadership. But because Nintendo does own a good amount of Pokemon, but not enough, Pokemon does what they basically want to do, with the exception of Nintendo as publisher.
I bet
outside
because
of that, they're in charge.
That's interesting. I bet because there are so many, there's so much communication between these different companies and assets are flying back and forth, right? I bet that's the reason why there are so many Pokemon leaks, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
it does, like, Drogain's definitely right. Like, when the people come after you for leaking something, it's Nintendo that comes after you. It's not like,
when I get a copyright strike on my
the
YouTube
Pokemon
channel,
company.
it says from Nintendo, which actually goes back
I
to
like
the
how
game.
you said "when" as if like that's a common occurrence.
It is.
So,
It literally is happening.
It's a common occurrence. Well, I'm saying for you, it is.
Well, it is.
I've gotten maybe like 5 copyright strikes in my time.
You've gotten 5 copyright strikes.
I've gotten more than me, and I've cleared them out. But so
claims your strikes though.
Strikes.
No, they're either or, but it's enough. But so
Well, no, I would say they're not either or. One takes down your channel.
No,
well, I didn't get taken
you need
down
3 to
yet 'cause
take
I
down your
deleted the
channel.
video immediately. But so here's what you need to know. Especially if there's any other content creators that are coming up and watching this, if you are doing a Nintendo Direct, so like for example, when everybody was saying there ain't gonna be no Pokemon trailer in the Nintendo Direct, and I was like, yeah, there is, and then it came out and people were like, oh, I want to take this and talk about it, and everybody got claimed. The reason why is because it's a Nintendo Direct.
See, that's still stupid though. That's still stupid because it's
if
like
you go to Pokemon side, they're fine with it.
It's a trailer though.
Like right now,
why is it an issue to
I do remember having that problem. I remember uploading the video, like my kind of just review of the trailer, and it now I waited for the checks to run because I knew it was a Nintendo Direct, so I knew it'd be like a little fishy. But the checks ran before I published it and told me like, yeah, no, this ain't gonna fly. And so I had to go back and like I freeze framed the trailer like in the different parts I want to talk about, and that was fine. Which is dumb too, because like I'm still showing it. I'm just not showing it in video form, but whatever.
You have under 15 seconds you're allowed to use. If you use anything more than 15 seconds, you get popped. So you get 14 free, 14 frees, and they're doing it because
can
they
that
want
be separated? Like can I do 14? Show something else. 14 show, or is it like 14 across the span of the video?
It depends because sometimes
I feel like it
they
all
claim
comes
the JPEG as well.
Yeah,
so
I think it all comes down
their
to
algorithm. Whoever's in charge of their automatic copyright claim service, whether it's a bot or it's them themselves, they just do not want you getting any money off of anything.
Listen,
like,
I got 2 copyright strikes when Legends Arceus came out.
I remember you telling me this. This is so dumb.
This is the stupidest thing. So Legends Arceus had leaked. People had the game like 2 days earlier, and I wanted to get some of that traffic, and I didn't have the game. But I live streamed Sword and Shield and discussed Legends Arceus in like, whatever the leaks were. I discussed like theories, right? And I called the video I think it was like Legends Arceus, and then it was like comma like
playthrough.
Yeah, gameplay and discussing. Like it was whatever. And it flagged me. I got 2 copyright strikes for live streams saying that I was playing the game illegally, which is pretty stupid because it's like I literally was not. If a human looked at it, I obviously was just playing Sword and Shield in the Crown Tundra.
And you got 2, right?
They got bots set up, and whenever they see their content come, they flag it.
Yeah.
And this actually stems back farther than this little history lesson. When YouTube started doing monetization, I wasn't a YouTuber yet, but I was in the scene, so to speak. They had channels that were put on the Nintendo partnership program. And the problem with the program is that they were taking like anywhere between 70 to 80% of your revenue and giving you 20%. But that also comes after, YouTube takes their cut. So they were already in a space back then where they were like, we don't mind you talking about our stuff. We just want the money from your video. Like that's pretty much where they're at with it.
I've gotten videos taken down where it's like the video will make $300. They take it down. It's like that money's just floating there forever. Does Nintendo get it? I have no idea.
Nintendo gets 80% of it, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wanna move forward a little bit, right? I don't even know if viewers care about all this inside baseball.
Segue really quick though.
Yeah.
Because it does go back to this whole Teal Mask leaks. Like, not to you were about to move on, but
no, this is
I was
fun.
just thinking about Austin John Plays got hit. Like with
exactly
for the Teal Mask. So it's not like they definitely still did some stuff with Teal Mask. I saw a bunch of people on Twitter. All of the original leaks from Twitter, they took them all down.
Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast. Today is going to be an exploration of Japan and how it is represented in the Pokemon universe. We're also going to be taking a look at what we can expect to see if we return to Japan in a future Pokemon generation. And stick to the end because we even talk about an Australia Pokemon region, what kind of Pokemon would show up there.
And 10?
It might be. My name is DustyGogoat. Today I'm with the LumiosePost.
What's up?
SoulSilverArt.
What's up?
And special guest, Sutami.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, this is gonna
We're
be
happy to finally have you here.
Exactly. Yeah. We talk to you
Been a
all
long
the time
time
on
coming.
Twitter. I mean, you make your own YouTube videos. You tweet constantly. We're at like a 13-hour difference right now. You're live in Japan,
Crazy.
right?
Yep, it's 10:46 p.m. my time at recording.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Crazy. So late.
Well, it's 9:30
That's hard to wrap
a.m.
my
for
brain
us.
around.
So Tommy, let's start with this. We've got our infamous speed round questions, but we want to get to know you. We want the audience to get to know you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what your background is, and what you do online.
Okay, so my name is Poki Sutami on Twitter, YouTube. I'm originally from Australia, born and raised, but I've been living in Japan for the last 11 or 12 years now,
Wow.
I think. In total, I've been living in Japan for about 15 years, if you include all the trips. I live in the Kansai region, which is where Johto is based.
Oh, I love that.
So amazing.
That's why I'm a total Johto fan.
Well, we're gonna learn more about that in a little bit. That's great.
Oh, you're definitely going to learn a lot about Johto.
That's great.
Can I ask what made you move to Japan? Was it just love for the country or?
So it's gonna sound really strange, but when I was a young kid, my grandmother used to listen to a song called Sayonara Nakamura a lot on like the radio. It was a Australian song by an Australian country artist, but in the chorus they had a lady singing in Japanese, and I used to think it was so beautiful. I couldn't understand a word, and it turns out it was actually really, really sad. But I didn't know that. I just thought it was beautiful. And from that point on, I think probably about 5 years old, always been interested in Japan. But I couldn't start learning the language until I was 18 because countryside, all of that stuff. But yeah, once I got into uni, I started learning Japanese seriously. Just fell in love with everything, especially like Japanese dialects and the geography, the culture, all of that stuff. And once I graduated university, I didn't even go to my graduation. I moved straight here and didn't leave.
Wow.
That's great.
Basically. That's cool.
I didn't go to my
Yeah.
graduation, but it was not as cool of a reason. I think I
The
just
story.
decided to hang out with my friends.
I didn't go to my graduation because I dropped out.
I didn't
I
even
was
go to my high school graduation. I'm talking about.
Oh.
I
Wow.
I didn't go to my college graduation either though. What is your Pokemon type, right? If you were a Pokemon, right? What would your type be? And what would your
Ghost.
Okay, Ghost. And what would your
Boom.
what would your hidden power type be?
Oh.
And this is like your astrology sign, right? It's like what is your like we're gonna read you after this. We're gonna be like, oh, okay, she said
Through
fire
your
type,
zodiac
she said
signs,
ghost.
what's your hidden power type?
Yeah. Like this is gonna be
Okay.
really telling.
So, like I said, Ghost is my 100% type straight
Okay.
away. Other than that, I'd say maybe fire.
Okay.
I know that sounds so basic, but
No,
No,
not at
fire's
all.
a great type.
It's not basic. A lot of people probably say other things, like weird types. So
I said water.
I don't even remember what my types were. They change. They fluctuate.
don't remember
I think I'm a
yours either.
Rotom.
he's grass and something. Grass and something he is. I thought you were gonna say fairy Sue because I see little like Mimikyu down there.
Oh, that's
I
true.
was very tempted. I
Yeah.
was very tempted. I've got like all my Mimikyu lined up, but the screen's all blurred, so.
Oh, that's
Yep.
so cool. There's an event right now in Scarlet and Violet. I was trying to find a horde of or an outbreak of Mimikyu to shiny hunt.
Hasn't started yet, buddy.
When does it start? That's why I couldn't
The
find it.
27th. That's why you couldn't find it.
Oh my god.
I looked last night. I was like, I don't want to miss the event. All right, the 27th.
Starts the
All right, I got a couple
27th.
days.
That's Friday.
I got a couple
Just
days.
text us or text the Discord. Even.
And Dusty's like, why aren't any ghost types appearing?
You have a resource of Pokemon fans at your disposal.
Yeah, I know. I like to do things on my own,
boy.
right? And I save all my questions for the podcast. All right, that's good. So, Sutami, what are your top 6 favorite Pokemon? This would be your dream team.
I don't know if they'd make a good team, but yeah, definitely Mimikyu.
Okay.
Ditto.
Ooh. We haven't heard that one yet.
I love Ditto.
Same.
Maybe. Oh, damn it! I'm not good on the spot.
So far, it's a great team.
And this is like anime rules, right? You could play with anime rules where like Bellsprout is a champion.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Basically,
Meganium.
Meganium? Nice.
Yep.
I gotta say, I've come around on Meganium. Like, I am a Bayleaf stan. I think Chikorita's a little whatever, but like Bayleaf is so great. But I got a Meganium in Pokemon Sleep, which we are friends in, by the way, and and I love it. It's so cute. I'm like, I want to play Heart Gold Soul Silver now. With
don't
Dusty, this is your podcastly reminder to play new Pokemon Snap, in which Meganium
Why should
is
I do
a
that?
prominent Pokemon in.
It's like the main one. All right.
I keep
Hopefully
interrupting.
that gave you some time to think, though.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't think at all. Don't give me that much credit. But Arcanine.
Arcanine.
I'd probably throw
Cantonian,
in.
I assume.
Kanto.
Either or. Actually, I really like Hisuian Arcanine, so throw that in there.
Okay.
See, whenever I think of Pokemon that has forms like that, I just say like the base one, and it counts for both of them or all of them because it's still the same.
That's a little bit of a cop out.
That's how it is.
Well, like when you
how it
go
is.
with Arcanine, either or is great. So,
yeah.
You're not gonna lose either way.
Yeah, they're both great designs.
I honestly don't know if I like the Hisuian one anymore. I think conceptually they're really cool, but no, I'm not saying they're bad. I think I was more excited for a new form of Arcanine, but it's not.
You wanted Water Arcanine.
Yeah, dude, like from the Gen 7 fake leaks.
Knowing the cultural background of it, it makes a lot of sense, and I think that's probably why I like it so much because they're based off of Koma Inu, or another name for is Inu Shishi or something like that. And
those are the statues.
Statues, yeah, they're all around Japan, but they're especially in Okinawa, which is kind of weird putting in a Hokkaido-based region, but either way,
it's.
But yeah, they very much resemble that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
That's always cool.
Dusty's pulling it up.
So that's
Pulling it
4.
up. I got it. 1 second.
Four. God, 2 more.
Yeah, those are so cool.
I don't want to speak for you, but would Starmie be on there?
Yeah, throw it in.
Okay.
Starmie, yeah, that's good. Let's do Starmie.
It's good coverage.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And then we also want to ask you what your.
Oh, she still got one
She
more.
had one more.
What are we at?
5.
Throw in another
good.
Mimikyu.
Thrown into 2
Another
Mimikyu.
Mimikyu?
Nice.
The 2 forms.
Pikachu?
Normal and shiny.
Normal and
Okay.
shiny.
The shiny is
that's
so
fair.
good. So
Shiny is good.
the shiny Mimikyu is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like. I read it as black and white, as if it's supposed to be, like it's a grayscale color, as if it's supposed to be the Pikachu, and how that looked on the original Game Boy,
Interesting.
because that's how it's based.
Yeah, I kind of look at it as like a dirty, old, faded sheet.
Could be that as well. Yeah, super sun faded. That makes sense.
I was just thinking it was like a ghost, more like ghost colors. That's it.
I
Like
wasn't
more like
thinking.
Yeah. What is Mimikyu?
So
So
like, what are shinies really?
yeah, you kind of do undervalue shinies, Lumi, which is
I
interesting.
do. Well, it is funny you say that on the subject of Mimikyu because I have one Mimikyu in my game that I use in battles and stuff, and it's a shiny. It's the one they gifted from the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Ultra Spooky Cup. So it is in a Cherish Ball, and it is shiny.
How did you get
Wow.
that?
That's kind of awesome. Actually.
You had to participate in the little Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Ultra Spooky Cup.
I didn't.
You had to
know
do
that.
3 battles in it. It was like all spooky Pokemon, so like ghost types, and then things like Gliscor and Muck that are a little bit more on the creepy side.
That's cool.
But
That was in Gen 7?
yeah,
That's cool.
Ultra
That's
Sun,
cool.
Ultra Moon. Yep.
That's pretty sweet. All right, what's your favorite Pokemon game?
Heart Gold.
Why? That's a good
Because
answer.
it's Heart Gold.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
enough
it's
for
Heart
me.
Gold.
No description needed. It's just like a masterpiece of a game. Like, there's very little you could do to Heart Gold and Soul Silver by connection to make it any better than what it is. The lore is great. The graphics for the time were great.
They're so pretty.
The Pokemon like roster is great. There's just nothing wrong with Heart Gold as a game, in my opinion. Other than that, I really liked Snap too.
I've never played it.
Yeah. Let's go.
You made Lumi's day.
It's
See, I'm
such a great
actually
game.
I'm actually a photographer as well, so
Oh wow.
I love it because of that too.
Nice.
All right.
It's such a good game. I've been trying to get these two clowns to play it for a while now, but with no avail.
I'll join you with that quest.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have Sue like text me.
Yeah,
all
no,
the
just
time,
don't
dude.
tweet at
Yeah.
us. Just don't.
Are you playing
Every
this?
day. Every day. Let's do it,
Yeah.
Lumi.
Someone's gonna
Yes.
create like a bot that
Yes.
like messages us every day.
Don't need
My
bots.
bir-
We'll just do it.
My birthday is
Put in
this
the work.
next month coming up, so I mean, who
Do it.
What do you want us to?
At
You want
this
us to
point,
buy
we
you
have
it?
to.
Yeah,
This,
who's
at this
who's out
point, we
there?
have to cast it when y'all do play it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we have to at this point. It's been too long of a gag.
We
I
might have to
know.
do it
We
just
We
to
should do
make
that
me
at some
stop.
point. Just live stream it. The thing is like when
so-
it came out. I mean, this. Yeah, I don't know, well, I'll just go on and on about it. But
Yeah. I was gonna ask Sue why Heart Gold instead of Soul Silver.
I know that's a little disrespectful.
Like
Soul
Ho-Oh
Silver's
more
my
than
favorite.
Yeah.
You like Ho-Oh more? I'm really surprised. I didn't think.
Hi, really? I'm such
Yeah.
a ho-ho person.
I didn't know that.
I'm
Really?
Mm-hmm.
She did say Hidden Power Fire.
Yeah, that's true.
There
Hidden
you
Power
go.
Fire.
But Gold was also my first proper Pokemon game that I owned. That
Okay.
not owned. It was my first proper game that I owned.
So same thing with me except Silver, and I like Lugia more. So Silver
I
and
did
Lugia.
technically play Silver 1st.
Mhm.
Old school there.
Yeah.
I did play Silver first, but it was my friend's brother's game that he let me to play, and I accidentally saved over it.
Oh, my cousin did that to me, and I'll never let it go. I bring it up even at his wedding. I'm like, I would not stop complaining about it. It scarred me. I think I have trust issues.
Dusty's toast. Congratulations and all, I guess.
But
I still
I'll
want
never get that
fucking-
Tyranitar back.
Nope. Was it just like a time thing, or is it like when you're a kid thing? But I feel like maybe Lumi, you might not know this, but back in the day when we would get games, like I am the same as you, Sue, and I know that Dusty has said the same thing. That my first game wasn't my game; it was somebody
No.
else's that I like borrowed or
That
like
was-
used.
Back in the
Mine
day,
was
that's how it
given
was.
to me. Mine was given to me. My first game was Fire Red, and to this day I have the copy. And if you look on the back, you can kind of make out Sharpie mark. It's because it was written Trip on it, because a guy named Trip gave it to me.
On the back of my blue version, it said Derek.
Really? Are you
Yeah.
making this up?
No, I'm not kidding. That was my neighbor's.
No.
What are the chances? Yeah, no, I don't remember, but I played like a red version when it first came out, and it was not mine.
My friend Tommy, I'm sure he goes by like Thomas now as an adult, but we called him Tommy when we were 6.
Then he will forever
And he
be
had
Tommy.
he had red version, and he had a Blastoise. No, he had a Charizard, and that was really
I'm
cool.
about to say, you picked Red, then picked Charizard. Come on.
You never know,
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, my wife, the first game she played was her brother's Emerald.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
I've actually, in this house somewhere, I've got my husband, Souls. I've got his first ever game of, not gold, green.
Green. Oh, wow.
And I've
That's
got
really
a bunch
cool.
of his little sister's games and all that. And his brother's games. Somehow, like, last time we went over to their hometown, I just ended up with all of their old Pokemon games.
That's the best. When I used to like go to
Confiscate.
friends' houses and I'd be like, "Oh, what kind of video games do you have?" They'd show me their Game Boy collection, and then I'd be like, "Oh, you have a Pokemon game? Do you play this? Like, can I borrow it? Can I?
Yeah,
can
can
I
I
see it?"
no.
Because I feel
Do
like a
you
lot of
play
people
this
like
at all?
undervalue. I feel like people just didn't care about Pokemon games. Like they'd have it because it's popular, but not because they cared about it.
Well, and usually people would like if they had it, they'd play through the main story, they'd beat the champion, and then
Yeah.
kind of be like,
Yeah.
I played it. You know,
but I'm still.
I mean, that's
playing-
kind of how I am with like Mario games.
Yeah, right.
I know we're on a bunny trail, but I wish that I had like bought all the Pokemon games because I didn't buy them all. But if you had them all right now, I saw just like a random user on Twitter. She was Japanese, I think, actually, and they had all of them from start to finish, and I was just like, that would be one, an amazing collection, but two, you could make so much money off of them right now. Like they're like I don't know, Pokemon cards, I guess, where
some of them, yeah.
You didn't think that was going to happen back in the day. You weren't like, oh, they're going to gain value and become worth a lot of money.
Well, I think it was the original ones. I feel like the Game Boy games are not worth anything, especially the Japanese ones.
I mean, they're impossible to find.
No, I was at Comic-Con. There was
they're like all dead.
I was at Comic-Con. There was a bucket of like Japanese silver, gold, red, green, and they were going for like $5 a pop. But
gold and silvers, their batteries are all dead, but you can still find greens with battery left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
because gold and silver, the battery ran out faster because it was also being used for the clock system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, I remember seeing there was a bunch of like kind of, I guess, cultural shock of a lot of Americans who went over to Japan for the Worlds that happened in August. And they were shocked to see, like, they found some kind of shop in Yokohama where they could get Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl for, like, what was the equivalent of, like, $8,
which is insane.
Yeah, they sell, you can get secondhand games really cheap here. Like, even if I go onto the resale online sites, you can get them for, like, $5 to about, like, $15, $20.
Mm-hmm. Do you're like, so here, for example, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is about $60 here, but the Diamond and Pearl game, if I find a DS, a used game, it will be $75 here. Is it like that over there with reselling games?
To a certain extent, because like there's always the chance of like having a really good Pokemon, like a shiny Pokemon or an event Pokemon in the game cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of the time, that's not the case. Like it's a gamble every time you do it. But
yeah,
some places do hike up the prices, aiming for that market.
Yeah,
my buddy just picked up an Emerald version, and there was like an authentic, shiny, what's it called, a Manectric. And like the file was from like 2006 or something, which I think is so cool. It's like a little time capsule.
Mm.
But I wanted to ask you, like, are there any main differences between green version? Because I've never played green. I've played red and blue and yellow like a million times, but I've never played green version. And I know the sprites are different, and maybe some of the encounters or some of the some of those options are different. But do you think it's like a different game in any way? Isn't it just like the 1.0 of blue version?
It's very much more bare bones.
Okay.
Like you said, it's got the different sprites and all that, but yeah, it's maybe not bare bones, but less polished.
Okay.
And you can feel that. I've never actually played it all the way through. I've watched as he's played it a little bit. But yeah, you kind of get that feeling that they of course had more time when they were doing blue and red.
Okay.
For the Western market.
Yeah, I gotta get my hands on that at some point. That'd be really fun to play through.
I've got one I can send to you.
You do send stuff, don't you? Like you have that thing going on?
I do resale shopping for people.
Oh, cool. Well, wouldn't I need a like a Game Boy or like a Japanese Game Boy?
No.
It's not
They're
region
not region locked.
Wow.
Nope.
That's really
that
cool.
didn't start until what, the DS or maybe even the 3DS?
Like, of course, it will all be in Japanese.
Yeah.
So you're just going to be
I know,
mashing.
that's all right. I know how to play the game. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
would know all the text. All right. So
the thing that would be difficult though, Dusty, is the moves.
That's true. Yeah.
That's what would get you. Like, where you know, is it trying to learn flamethrower right now, or is it
Yeah.
trying to learn growl? You know.
I always thought the move Leer, the animation for Leer in Gen 2, I forget what it looks like in Gen 1, but in Gen 2 looks like a hyper beam. Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm playing through the game and I'm like, wow, this looks really powerful, and it's just like withdraw.
It lowers defense.
Yeah,
Right.
or something. Right. So Tommy, what was did you ever have a Pokemon break? We find a lot of people that we have on the show, a lot of our friends. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your Pokemon break.
So, my Pokemon break was Gen 5. Like, I know for a lot of people that's a very important gen. I don't know why. Like, I tried to play it several times. Even recently, like 2 years ago, I bought the games again and tried to play. But literally every time I get to the forest area, I just stop.
Do you just lose interest?
Yeah, just completely. I've never gone past the forest.
How do you feel about the Gen 5 Pokemon? Because I think
that's the real question.
Yeah, because when I play Black and White, I still, even though a lot of the Pokemon that are in, even though a lot of the Unova Pokemon, like I just accept as like I take them for granted. I'm like, this is a Pokemon, it's a Pokemon, right? I still, when I play Black and White, the base games, get a little bit bored because I'm like, this feels disconnected from the rest of the Pokemon world.
Maybe
Black 2 and
that's
White 2
why
is a little
it
bit different.
hit me too. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that's why it just didn't appeal to me because it seemed so unfamiliar to what I was used to at that point.
Yeah.
Like, there's some really good Pokemon designs in there, and I like Sora and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just never was able to get into it, and I really tried.
Yeah.
Like, I've bought the game like 3 times. I've paid the money for it. I should like it, but
Yeah.
Just
Maybe
doesn't
on the
click.
4th purchase.
I think Gen 5 is a common Pokemon break. That was my wife's break too. And you know what's interesting? My wife says the same thing. She says it was the forest is where she stopped. I just realized
really?
that.
There's a lot of like
that's really weird. What is it about Pinwheel Forest?
Is it like the pointless team plasma battles? I know there's a lot of those right away.
like, I really just can't place the reason. But like I said, every single time it's always the forest. So maybe there is just something about the forest.
Yeah. I feel
But
like
I also, the first gym for me, like the gimmick of it and all that, didn't interest me.
Yeah, it's like normal types plus one of the types you're weak to.
Right.
Yeah.
I
They
think
could have easily done like a Sawaddle, a Temple, and then a Litwick, you know.
Yeah. I'm reflecting a little bit on how there are games, a lot of like 3D Pokemon games where I feel like I never really buy into the magic of the game. I think the beginning of any Pokemon game is the most magical for me when you have your starter and a couple Route 1 Pokemon and they level up so quickly. Right, maybe you get like one of the early route bug evolutions, and that's really exciting. But I feel like Gen 6, 7, 8 even, I feel like I don't know, I feel like the magic, I never really buy into it where I feel like I'm immersed in the region. And I find, and I maybe I just need to replay some of these games so I kind of have them, so I have that nostalgia, and I have that recall of my experiences, but I feel like how I spend most of my time playing a Pokemon game now is really just like it's the grind of shiny hunting and post game or whatever the competitive is, or not that I'm like setting up competitive teams, but it's like all of the maintenance that I do in post game, right? It's not really like in replaying. And I'm thinking about that based on what you're saying, but I don't feel like that with Gen 5. With Gen 5, I played through it and I'm like, the whole game feels whimsical. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I'm in the Pokemon
Y'all have
universe.
me nervous. Y'all have me nervous because I've never had a Pokemon break, and so I'm like, am I due one?
Oh,
Like,
dude!
Oh, no.
So Tommy, we're gonna be looking in 2024. We're gonna be looking for a new co-host. So
is Gen 10 gonna come out, and I'm just gonna be like, this ain't for me,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, but
I
no,
don't think so, but-
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Sue, with the it being just unfamiliar. I think that's knowing my wife. That's probably what drove her away too, and I think that was it for a lot of players. Like even people who use brand new Pokemon for their teams, there's something comforting, right, about running into the grass and you see a wild Pikachu. You know, I mean, but there's not that in Unova, so it does it. I mean, the goal was a soft reboot, and they captured that for better or worse. You know.
Another factor it could be, like, I'm guessing I'm probably not far off on age with your wife. Maybe it's because that age, a lot of us were kind of like going through a lot of life changes naturally. So, like, for me at least, like I said, it lacked that sense of familiarity.
Yeah.
And at that point, because I was going through a lot of life changes as I was like becoming an adult, basically, I was moving out of my teens, going to uni, all of that. So maybe I was playing games for the sake of like a sense of familiarity, and I wasn't getting that.
Yeah. I think for her, there was also part of it. She was in middle school. So I think like she kind of, even though she enjoyed those games, it was no longer cool. You know what I mean? At least in America, I don't know how it is over in Australia or even Japan. But for her, like, it was no longer cool at that age. And I think like she wanted to break away from it, but she liked it too much too. And then Unova was kind of like the bye-bye Butterfree, where Ash is like, you can go now, you know?
Yeah. For the first, like, 2 years of being a Pokemon fan, all of my friends secretly knew I liked Pokemon, but I would always hide it behind, oh, I'm playing it because of my younger cousin.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm watching the anime because of my younger cousin. He wants to watch it with me, so I need to watch it.
Yeah,
So,
that's.
like,
I feel like that
it
happens
wasn't
to so
a
many
thing
fans.
that girls did.
Oh, so you think it was more because you're a girl?
Well, like, in that era, when I was still, like, in primary school and all of that, I'm from a very small rural countryside town. And it was always said in, like, the friend groups and the cliques and all that, Pokemon is something the boys like.
That's funny.
Ah.
That's funny because I feel like
it's kind of how it was in America.
I feel like my insecurity with Pokemon was that it was like either too immature or too feminine, right?
Really, you felt like it was too feminine. I never got
100%,
feminine, but I
Jigglypuff.
got the Pokemon is for babies.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's Jigglypuff, but like for every Jigglypuff, there's an Alakazam and a Gengar, right?
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know if those are the best ones.
Well, I was thinking Gym 1, and those are scary. You know, those are scary.
Tyranitar is way cooler. Scizor is epic.
Tyranitar and Scizor on Gym 1.
Yeah.
Ask me if you want to know from some cool Pokemon. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
Gengar is cool. Get out of here.
It's
Gengar
like
is cool.
Today we are live in New York City. My name is DustyGogoat. I'm also with Birdkeeper Toby.
Heyo.
In Cup of Fee.
Hi.
Welcome, guys. How you doing?
We're good. We're good.
Good.
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a nice day recording videos here in the heart of Unova.
I think why we wanted to discuss Pokemon forms today, it's one, to shamelessly plug your videos about your new Blood Moon form Pokemon, but also because I think the Blood Moon Ursaluna is such a it's like a delicious
cool idea.
addition to like everything we know about Pokemon forms, right? To me, it really feels functionally like a legendary Pokemon, right? Even though it's by name a form of Ursaluna, you, at least at the current time, can't get it any other way outside of a wild encounter, right? It's like old school Snorlax, right? Or how you encounter like a Spirit Tomb, right? I don't know. How do you guys feel about Ursaluna and the Blood Moon form?
It's just a really cool like addition because I mean no one expected it to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like we're getting the Kitakami games, we know we're getting the Loyal 3, we're getting Ogerpon, but then there's just suddenly this side quest, and there's just an Ursaluna from a whole different time and a different region, just here in modern day, and it looks super cool, and like I really, really want Pokemon to do more of these.
Yeah.
For real.
I think it was magical that it's in particular doing a form for a Pokemon that we only just got as an extinct evolution. And I think what really works about that is because it then, of course, naturally leads you to wonder, well, are there any other Hisuian Pokemon that could have survived to today? Which, of course, is your whole video.
And like you could even branch out even further. Like, what if there was a Fossilmon that like survived?
Wow,
to modern day?
yeah.
And, like,
ooh, what if that's
See,
like
that gets into Genesect, right?
Yeah.
That was the common theory with Genesect,
or like even
that
even
it was a Kabuto.
even Paradox Pokemon. you know?
That's true. Because they feel like legendary in their own right, kind of like Ultra Beast or
There
something
is,
else.
and there's also something about like a sort of I don't know about you guys when I first saw the art, I sort of thought zombie, like Five Nights at Freddy's, like you know, I think you make a couple Five Nights at Freddy's jokes in your video, and I was kind of like
oh, we're gonna do this whole Pokemon Resurrection thing, and I've kind of heard in the leakosphere maybe talks about like Pokemon zombies are gonna be, so this is like feels like maybe it's a prelude to that kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe that's a bit speculative.
Nah, it could be. It very well could be. Yeah. So there's honestly a lot of different classifications of Pokemon forms. I think let's just lay out some of the largest subgroups of Pokemon forms. We've got the permanent forms, and that's really, Pokemon like gender differences. There's alpha Pokemon, paradox. I guess paradox Pokemon. Do you call those forms? I actually don't think.
No, I don't call them forms. No. They're just their own Pokemon.
Yeah. But you have alternatively colored Pokemon.
Shinies.
Yep. And then
is that the official term for them? Alternatively colored Pokemon.
It is. Yeah.
Did they not adopt shiny at some
I swear,
point?
like since Gen 5, they've called them shinies in game.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, the shiny charm is a thing.
Maybe I know in Pokemon Go they definitely have.
Right.
Yeah,
but shiny Pokemon count. I guess I'm trying to think of some stuff like maybe let's say like a what's it called? Vivillon, like a Vivillon form. That's a permanent form. So you have a lot of forms like that.
Yeah, lots of Pokemon have that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Unknown, I think
Unknown's a great.
they all have those kinds
those
of
are great
like
examples.
the pink butterfree count.
Yeah.
Yep. Basculin.
Which, to be honest, I feel like whenever they come up, and I don't know about you guys, I always feel like really quite unexcited by the Pokemon that have like just a couple like I prefer things like
it depends what the change is, right?
Yeah,
because often they're kind of like irrelevant.
Yeah,
right? Like it's like okay, there's this one's blue, this one's red, and then what else? There's no. I like the permanent Pokemon form changes like not Meowscarada, Meowstick.
But that's a gender variation.
True.
But
there's also a physical
appearance. Huge difference.
And there's a go on.
Well, I was just gonna say that there's like I feel like when they introduced gender variants in Generation 4, there was a whole huge list of past Pokemon that got like these different kind of sexual dimorphisms, whether that's the bigger horns or tusks or whatever or hair.
Sure.
But then since then, they've only ever really done like 1 or 2 Pokemon per generation, and they have really radical differences, like the Meowscaradas. No, I'm doing it now. The Meowsticks and the Jellicents and that kind of Pyroars. And
Dudunsparce seems very redundant, right?
Does Dudunsparce have a gender variation?
Redundant.
No, not a gender variation. I'm just jumping around. It has it has a form. It has 2 different forms that are like so similar. It's like, why does this even exist?
Have you heard the recent theory about that by Hybrid Hero?
I have heard it. Yeah,
it's really good.
Are we allowed to? Has it been long enough where we can recite it?
I think so. Yeah.
You want to explain
just like again, credit to the person.
A Hybrid Hero.
Hybrid Hero, friend of the podcast.
Yes. The mouse holds are in families of 4 normally.
Yes.
1 in 100 chance is in a family of 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Dudunsparce is the same, and they both have Pokédex entries talking about how they navigate nests. So the idea is that a 3-segment Dudunsparce becomes a 3-segment by eating the mousehold family member that's missing from the equally rare mouse holes.
So perfect. It feels so perfect.
I fully believe it. Like it's canon as far as I'm
I call that my head canon. Absolutely. I love that so much.
I have enough confidence. That's canon.
Yeah, that's real canon. That's just absolutely truth.